it to it, take it to it. Take it to it. Take it to it.
We are down to just 3 teams left in this tournament. We have one that has already punched their ticket to the finals. That would be Finland with their domination over Team Russia earlier on today. And coming up in just 13 minutes, it is Team Canada versus Team Sweden to determine which team will take on Finland for the tournament championship. Hello, everyone, and welcome into this coverage of the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship. I am Drew Goldfarb, joined as always by my good friend Nick DeMeo. Nick, we are down to just 3 teams left. The day started with 4, and by the time we're done here today, it will be just 2 teams left in this tournament.
Drew, I've been really excited lately. There's just been a mist in the air of just hype and excitement, and a lot of us have been missing hockey, and this tournament really has filled that void of giving us some really great hockey action. And I think if my memory is correct, if the things I'm feeling on the inside and outside of my body is correct, we're going to have a great matchup here today with 2 teams that are just really unstoppable forces.
Yeah, this is really the matchup we were expecting. If you were looking at the bracket before this tournament started and you were trying to pick favorites across the board, Canada versus Sweden is probably what you had in the semifinals on this side of the bracket. We know Finland's moving on. That was an incredibly impressive way to punch your ticket to the tournament championship, the tournament finals. But in this situation, Canada and Sweden each have been tested and each now face probably their biggest test of the tournament so far. Canada had to take on the US to open things. So we know that that was going to be a big bragging rights test for them taking on their North American counterpart. But Canada versus Sweden, about as big as you're going to get at this point until obviously one of these teams takes on Finland in the next round.
Yeah, with the way the bracket worked out, obviously US and Canada played in the first round. It kind of got that rivalry kicking off the tournament to a great start, and you go through the bracket, and like you said, I think this is pretty much what a lot of people predicted would be the final 4, let alone the final 2 on the left side of the bracket. And here we are with arguably 4 of the top 10 NHL players in the entire world here today in this final matchup before the finals on Sunday.
Oh, and I absolutely agree. I mean, when you look at what these guys have done, we're going to be going with the PlayStation 4 side first, then the Xbox One, alternating. So game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4. The odds played by these guys that you see on your screen now on the PlayStation side, the even games being played on the Xbox side. And you can look at what happened here. I mean, we were covering the quarterfinal game for Canada, and Josh Fearless, the way that he played, the way that he opened that series up is what basically set the table for Canada to pick up a victory in that round.
Yeah, he was able to get a 5-0 decisive win to set things off, and I think that kind of allowed the team to get a little bit more comfortable in trying some things. I looked at Josh Fearless in that second game, and I thought he would kind of pull off a little bit, let off the gas. No, he was more aggressive and more risking, and I think that gives him the ability to try some different things he would not otherwise try to do in a normal game with that kind of lead. And maybe he learned a thing or two of what he could do on international ice as a result of that. I don't know. But what I do know is him and Nuke representing Team Canada are here in the semifinals, and they have a lot not to prove, but to say on the ice against Sweden.
And on the other side, their counterparts for this matchup on Team Sweden, both of them 20 years old. They are basically the exact same age. There were three 20-year-olds that were in this round. So the youngest team to get this far easily is Team Sweden. And for Sebastian on that side of things on the PlayStation 4, tough matchup against someone like Josh Fearless. He split his quarterfinal series against a guy that we had seen previously as well, Pep Kastachursik, who a very solid player in his own right. So to split a series like that, I think if you earn a split in a situation like this, when you're playing a competitor like Josh in a matchup like this, maybe we do see that. Maybe for what I think maybe the first time since we've been covering this, we actually do see a true split in the series as far as games won on each side.
Yeah, a lot of the brackets, the way they've shaked up to be is one team walking out with 4 wins, 3 wins, and maybe some of the matchups were a little bit one-sided. I don't think we'll kind of see that here. We look at what Team Sweden was able to do, 43 playoff goals between two 20-year-olds, as you mentioned, and they've toppled some of the favorites to kind of get their way here. And I wouldn't say they're necessarily the underdog, but I don't know if they're the odds-on favorite to pull out a win in this one.
Yeah, and of course, on the other side, when you're talking about the Xboxes and you talk about Sweden, their player a perfect 4-0 so far in this tournament play, back-to-back sweeps for Ekin here, and now going up against someone in Nuke that we know can be incredibly talented. Had a little bit of difficulty with Daddy Padre in that first round against the USA, but rebounded in the game that he won to dominate by 5 goals and really seal a victory for Team Canada.
Yeah, when we talk about the Xbox side, a lot of people, because it's not as popular overseas as it is here in the United States and in Canada, not a big talent pool, but it doesn't change the fact that the talent level is just as high, if not higher, as we kind of talked about on Wednesday, with Nuke probably being a little bit better than Josh Fearless, some might say, which is a fun little friendly rivalry there. But on the other side, Ekin, a heck of a performance. And like I said, they pulled out some wins that they might not have been able to do it had they not played on their A game, and they did so here to make their way to this matchup today.
So we've kind of been breaking this down, obviously side by side, but we want to give you a full preview of this matchup as well. We've been doing it for every game that we've been broadcasting here. So right now, let's take a look at what it is that makes these two teams so special and what brought them to the semifinals.
Sweden versus Canada. The matchup we've all been waiting for will finally take place in the semifinals as Nuke, Josh, and Canada will take on Seb Larson, Ekin, and Sweden. Canada has been on a tear since Game 3 of their opening round against the US and now have a combined 36-20 goal differential after their quarterfinal win versus Slovakia. Josh scored 10 goals in his series over Fennoman en route to a 2-0 series win in their matchup, while Nuke was able to defeat Lady Brunette of Slovakia 6-2 and 3-2. These two are widely considered among the top 5 players in the entire world and don't appear to be slowing down one bit. First, Sweden, they were the heavy favorites going into their matchup versus the Czech Republic. Seb Larson and Ekin faced their first speed bump as their series was anything but easy. After they scored the most goals in round 1 versus Italy, Seb was handed his first loss in bracket play as he dropped Game 3 versus Pepcast 4-3. And if it weren't for a late tying goal in game number 1, he could have lost them both, but was able to turn it around late and score in overtime. The most shocking part of the entire quarterfinals might have been the series versus Jaren and Ekin. Ekin was expected to put up big numbers, but after getting out to a 4-0 lead in period 1 of their first game, it was Jaren who brought it back before losing 5-3. In their second game, Jaren held the lead late in the third period, trying to tie the aggregate score, but ultimately fell in overtime to the dominant Swede. This series is going to give us one of the biggest matchups individually in Ekin versus Nuke on the Xbox, but it's probably going to be decided in this series of Josh versus Seb Larson. If Seb can keep it close against Josh, who's proven to be dominant throughout this tournament, then it could give the Swedes a shot. After the quarterfinals, though, it does look that Canada is the favorite to move on to the finals. But regardless of how that quarterfinal matchup versus the Czech Republic went, Ekin and Seb Larson know they want to prove that they're among the best in the world, and they're going to get their chance to do that against Team Canada. A gigantic matchup, and one I personally can't wait for.
As we take a look at the bracket yet again, we kind of want to go over how this matchup works because you see scores next to each team that's on there, that 33-7 score from this morning. It may seem, if you haven't been watching, if this might be the first game that you're tuning in for, that is maybe just kind of continuing to pile on late. But the way that this tournament works is it is based on the aggregate score across all 4 games of the series. So you can theoretically go 1-3 in your matchup and lose 3 of the 4 games. But if you win by enough of a margin in game number 1, in the game that you win, it would be enough to punch your ticket to the next round because it's about total goals scored between the 2 teams.
That's exactly right. And it's something that we've talked about a lot through our coverage. But for those joining us today, first and foremost, welcome. Thank you for being there. But we want to get you kind of tuned into how this kind of looks. So it's more game management, but more period management, I think, Drew, as we look at what this is divided up into. It's divided up into 12 periods. That's really it. And I think your goal as a player, you're only playing 3 periods at a time, 1 full game. You want to win each period, +1. If you can do that, and you win more of your periods +1 than the other team, very Booger McFarlane of me, you will win the game. But I think it's important to note that because you're setting the tone for your opponent and your teammates. So how do they respond in the next game? So if Josh Fearless goes up +2 to end his 3 periods, now it's a bit of a comfort zone, a bit of a cushion for Nuke to play to that strength. On the other hand, if you tie or if you only go +1 or you go +5, it changes the dynamic of how you have to play that next game. And if you don't respond quickly, it's going to run away from you, as we've seen in some of these matchups. So I think the thing a lot of players have to do is understand if you're down by 3 goals going into that 4th period, that second game, you can't feel each other out. You have to go on the attack to close in on that lead.
Yeah, it changes the dynamic when you're talking about a situation where for the Xbox players in this case, you are going to start your game not from 0-0. You're starting your game, maybe you are +1, maybe you're -2, maybe you're +5, as we've seen in some situations. And that does change your approach. And if you are on either side of that, you can't just be looking at, okay, I could pull out a 3-2 victory in my game and we'll be fine if I win both my games that way. Because if your teammate loses a game 4-1, suddenly winning 3-2, 3-2 isn't enough. Especially if in that other game for your teammate, they only win by a goal. If that's the case, and my math is right, I believe that would lead to a golden goal situation because it would be even. So even if you won 3 out of 4, you didn't do so by enough of a margin. So it's kind of an interesting way. We haven't seen a situation in this tournament, I don't believe, where any team has lost more games than they've won and still advanced on the back of a major blowout in their one win. But you're kind of in a situation where going 2-2 is not enough. You've got to get some style points. You've got to pick up that victory. And what it makes for in these games, especially in games 1 and 2, is that there's no such thing as garbage time. Because you could be up 4-0 or down 4-0 in the final 5 minutes. And if you score one more goal, it's going to count. And that is absolutely huge when you've got 2 or 3 games to follow.
And we talk about that a lot, and I'm glad you keep mentioning it because I think it's important, and maybe, and I dare say this, I think the better teams that have made it this far have understood that, whereas some of the other teams might not have really had that click. Not that they weren't aware of it, not that they weren't trying to play for it, but it didn't sound like they were making that connection and doing something about it until too late in the game.
Absolutely. And that's kind of a situation where we've seen where there might be a flurry of 2 or 3 goals. And it's something where if you're playing a single game online and you go, okay, I've lost this game, and it gets out of hand, if you start taking penalties, if you start giving up just odd man rushes the other way or breakaways, or if you're giving up penalty shots because you trip someone on a breakaway. In a normal game, if it's just a one-off, you go, yeah, but what's the difference if you lose 4-2 or you lose 7-2? Well, in something like this, the difference is 3 goals in the aggregate, and that is absolutely a potential difference maker. We have seen matchups in this tournament decided by a single goal over the course of 4 games, and that goal may not have looked like it was going to be crucial at the time it was scored. It may not have been one. It could be a situation again, like if it's in game 1 of the series, if today in game 1 here, Josh puts up 7 goals. If he were to somehow win, let's say 7-1, and he scored that 7th goal late, well, if they lose their next games 3-1, 3-2, 3-1, suddenly that 7th goal made a world of difference. Even if it was at the time like, oh no, the game's in the bag. What are you doing? But no, it matters.
It does matter. And I think that's the big difference. And the good players, I think, are understanding that now, especially late here in their way to the finals, and are being more aggressive if they're down early, or being more aggressive if they want to get ahead early versus waiting too long to make that decision.
Absolutely. And here is the other interesting element of this tournament. When you've picked an international team to play as, you cannot pick them again during bracket play. So, Team Canada, Josh Fearless going up in the white jersey for Team USA, but coming down with a quick breakaway is Seb. He's going to lose possession puck. Good back check there, but the spin around on the wraparound is denied as well. Long shot from Brent Burns right in the glove of Ben Bishop. He'll play it out to Ryan Suter. And now I have an opportunity to breathe and point out to you that it is Team Sweden. Seb is dressed in black and playing as Team Canada. They have saved using Canada for this round. Of course, Team Canada played as Team Canada back in the opening round, in the round of 16 against Team USA. So that's why they are now in a position where they have to pick Team USA. They had used Sweden in the last round. They used Team Canada in the first round. So now, when it comes to Josh and Nuke, Team USA is their pick and their option for this series.
US not being one of the most powerful teams in the game is a great chance there. Kind of one of maybe the 5th best team in the game if you really look at the numbers. So interesting chess match decision there for 2 of the best players in NHL right now. And on the other side, one of a really strong team with Team Canada.
That one hit the post, but the rebound is knocked right in. Team Canada getting on the board first, by which I mean Team Sweden scoring the first goal of this matchup. It is now 1-0 as Seb gets on the board with Sidney Crosby.
And as I said that, maybe the alleged underdogs going into this decided to save their most powerful team until later into the bracket, so they had a little bit more of a boost against arguably some really good talent, as we know that Josh Fearless and Nuke are.
And that is as good of a start as you could hope for if you are Team Sweden. You're picking up that first goal about 5 minutes into the first period as far as game time goes, and really good puck possession as well for Seb, as he's done a really great job thus far. A nice job with that steal in neutralized by Josh, but a quick turnover, and it's moving the other way. Again, Sweden in the offensive end. Quick feed back to the point. That long shot was blocked in front, went off of Taylor Hall, and now it's cleared out of the zone. Johnny Gaudreau in the offensive end, moving towards the corner, back up to the point. Seth Jones looking to tie things up. Circles away from the slot, trying to get away from Jonathan Huberdeau and that pressure. Seth Jones, great job here, just playing a little bit of keep away and getting down low as he does it, but finally forced off the puck by Drew Doughty. Stamkos picked it up and then lost it right again. It's still Seth Jones. Now Johnny Gaudreau up top, moving into the slot area. Didn't have an opening lane, but got it down to Blake Wheeler, whose push on goal was denied by Carey Price. Chance the other way. Setting up is Seb. Now behind the net, pinned up against the boards. Where will this puck go? Stamkos leaving it out for Huberdeau. Jonathan Huberdeau in that faceoff circle up top for Sean Monahan. Now down low again in the corner. Huberdeau with possession. Trying to move away. Got it to Tavares. Back for Huberdeau. Trying to go faking him out. Trying to get the short side. Now a chance on the wraparound is Huberdeau again. Maybe going for a 3rd time, and he hit the post. Stamkos trying to get it up top for Monahan, but that one read and intercepted. It's moving the other way. Larkin forced towards the corner, pinned up against the boards, but does a great job of escaping with possession, trying to center himself, but pressed by Mark Scheifele, and it'll be Tavares getting out of the zone as we have a delayed penalty coming against Josh Fearless, and that might be a 2nd delayed penalty coming here as it's finally touched, and yeah, a 2-minute 5-on-3, and this is going to be tough. A penalty taken in each end by Josh.
Couldn't relieve the pressure. It's been all Team Sweden so far in this first period. Now a big kill. Can he pull it off, Josh Fearless?
Taylor Hall down low, dropping it off. Scheifele even lower behind the net, circling with it. Pressed, thinks better of it. Shifley feed for Hall, and it was tipped away in front. Still with possession in the offensive end. About 45 seconds gone by here on this power play. Good job pinning up against the boards there by Josh. Seb in deep, trying to get again behind the net. He's been using a lot of these wraparound or passes. There's the feed, and there's the goal. A power play marker, and it's a 2-0 game.
2-0 on the power play, and it is just a dominant performance so far by Seb, just putting on the pressure. And I think that's the best thing you can do if you're facing somebody like Josh Fearless, is just continue to hound him. Do not give him any space. Make him make the mistakes, and that's what's happening right here. As you can see, his first penalty kill unit super tired. Now the second unit's out.
There's still 51 seconds left of 5-on-4 hockey. But a good job winning the faceoff there by Josh, getting up for Austin Matthews, and may be able to kill off a lot of this penalty time that's left. Matthews circling with it, now centered on the ice. Matthews finding a little bit of space, try to just push it towards the net, but it was blocked and taken out of harm's way. Bergeron circling back and now in the offensive end as we go back to 5-on-5 hockey. Austin Matthews with the steal. Trying to get on the board is Josh Fearless. He finds himself down 2-0 in the early stages. Good check there from Shabbat just to force the puck back towards neutral ice. And now is steal yet again. Here comes Seb on the rush. Thinks better trying to make that centering feed. You know that he wanted to do it. He's been doing it a lot already in this game. Couldn't find the lane. Looking again, Nathan McKinnon behind the net, just playing a little bit of keep away. Loses it to the corner, but Bergeron is there. Patrice Bergeron, again, getting through a couple defensemen there. Pressed heavily, gets it up top for Brent Burns. With space, down low for Bergeron. In the corner, final 30 seconds of this period.
Wow.
2-0 already, Seb. And there's a steal that's moving out the other way. Maybe a chance here to close out the period with a shot. Austin Matthews in the corner, final 4 seconds. Trying to center it, the feed, the shot, and turned aside by Carey Price. And it's 2-0 after 1.
Well, that's a great period start for Seb, going up +2 in this first period of 12 periods through this aggregate. You have to be feeling pretty good if you are Seb. Now, on the other side, Drew, I don't think I've seen Josh Fearless as we have a bit of a connection issue here. We'll see what happens if the, yep. We're going to come back to studio here.
Yep.
As it looks like we just had a quick technical glitch there. As you join us back here in the studio with the recap so far of what we've seen that period. 2-0 Team Sweden leading the aggregate so far after 1.
Yeah, and I've pointed out before in broadcasts that we've done together, if you're going to suffer a disconnect, doing it in between periods when there's no question as far as how much time is left, that's as good of a time as you're going to find to have a situation happen like that. Obviously, you don't want that to happen, but in a situation like this, it is now 2-0. We're done with 20 minutes of play. That's nice to at least be able to know where you're not trying to go, okay, was there a minute and 15 left in the period, or was there, like, what was happening? But going over some of the numbers that we saw before the disconnect there, goals, obviously 2-0, including a power play marker for Seb. 5-0 in shots. That is something, trailing at the end of a period. We've seen Josh do that. He lost one game in the round of 16 to John Wayne in that matchup against Team USA. But being outshot 5-0 is not something we're accustomed to seeing this Canadian team facing at any point in a matchup.
That's exactly right. The 5 shots. I mean, Josh had about 2 chances there. One of them ringing off the post, and really couldn't get anything going. I believe the time on attack in real time minutes was close to about 3:45 of the 5 minutes of a period. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Now, how will they respond is the question. Josh Fearless is an aggressive player. I think that, knowing him as much as I do, I don't know him a lot, but I know him quite well, that I'd say he'd come out firing here as we restart, and there will be a bit of a paradox between what we see on the screen and what we discussed here in the period. So we have 1 period down, Drew, and we will be starting a new game in the second period, although the scoreboard may say the first period.
Right. And, that's kind of the thing. If you've watched this a bit on this tournament, you're already used to basically seeing that aggregate score pop up, or like in a matchup like this, where one team is playing as its opposing nation in the game. So you are probably hopefully used to it, but we will make sure that we mention it and point it out as we move on, as we go in this contest, that yes, we are a period ahead. of what you're probably seeing on your screen. So it is also a 2-0. So the aggregate score, even important here in game number 1, because that is going to be the true score for this contest.
That's exactly right. So 2-0 right now, Team Sweden going into period number 2 against Josh Fearless. That's Seb there, who I was really impressed by. I didn't get to cover the Swedes a lot through the brackets. I covered most of the right side of the bracket on the way here, aside from the quarterfinals we called. And that was really fun to watch him really go to work and hold the puck well. That control really does dictate the pace of play and what the other team does. You're going to get more frustrated. In a 1v1 game, you're going to get more tired. Your players get fatigued, and you have to get them off the ice. So line change is more of a factor in 1v1 than, say, 6v6. So a lot of different things went into that, and I think that kind of led to a lot of the success that Seb has had so far this game.
Yeah, it's interesting watching his strategy, because you do see different types of strategies, things that players may look for. And Seb is a guy who just seems to be very happy to control the puck. He's incredibly patient. And it's amazing to say that patience is a strategy for a team that scored twice in the opening period, because that's not something that you usually associate with being patient, 5 shots and 2 goals in a first period like that. But that is just really the way that he played. He was looking for those wraparounds from behind the net. He was also looking to try to wrap it and make a cross-crease pass, which we saw work. We saw that, but he wasn't forcing it. If it wasn't 95% there, he was not throwing the pass. And when he took the shot, if it wasn't going to go on net, it went wide, and he chased it down and got it himself, either with the player that took the shot or with the player that he had considered a pass to.
Yeah, the Euro style of play, I think, does come into fruition when you're facing a team that does get as aggressive as a team controlled by Josh Fearless is. If you control it and you slow him down, he has to come get it from you instead of you making a mistake.
So we are ready to get back underway here. Austin Matthews and Patrice Bergeron taking the draw. This is the second period. It is a 2-0 contest here in favor of the team dressed in black as Team Canada, which is Seb representing Team Sweden. In the offensive end, though, is Josh Fearless with a chance, trying to get it up top for Patrick Kane, getting down low. Kane moving behind the net, looking for a passing lane. There's nothing really open. Look at the manual control of the defenseman down low by Seb, just making sure he has nothing. Made the attack, though. Kane got around him, a little bit of space finally, and then Riley recovering and getting back to make the steal for Seb and moves it out all the way into the other end. Pass on ahead for Nathan McKinnon, back in the offensive zone. That pass back for the point is going to lead to a breakaway the other way. Jack Eichel dropping it in on the backhand. A beautiful move, and finally on the board is Josh Fearless.
Josh making a bit of a statement there, I think. That little one-handed tuck with the windmill. If you don't take manual control of the goalie, it's going to go in pretty much every time, and it does so there as he cuts the lead into half here in the second period.
Suter in the offensive end, now getting towards the corner, using the defenseman to pinch in down low as Josh playing a little fearless hockey, so to speak. Suter moving in towards the slot, thinks better of it. D-to-D pass, long shot got deflected in front and a little bit wide. Justin Brown behind the net trying to wrap it around, and that one just did not get on goal. It will be cleared out of the zone by Seb, back in the neutral ice, where Johnny Gaudreau re-enters. Gaudreau had Wheeler charging, thought better of it. Sidney Crosby was doing a really good job on defense there. Carlson stepping in. 13:30 to go here in the first period. Down low, Larkin. Feed for Gaudreau. This game is all tied up.
Almost a tale of 2 periods here, 2 very different periods now. All the pressure now is back on Team Sweden to respond. And that's a great way to regroup and respond yourself with Josh Fearless there tying the game up.
Phil Kessel in the offensive end. They have totally controlled the puck here since we restarted this contest. This is nearing the midway point of period number 2. It is a 2-2 hockey game. Pietrangelo in the offensive end for Shabbat. Trying to get down low towards the slot. Tavares trying to poke it on goal, but Ben Bishop making the save. Now moving out the other way. 11 minutes, 10 seconds to go here in the first period. Another opportunity. Try to take the lead, and they do! 3 straight goals in the first 9 minutes of period number 2. And Josh Fearless has given Team Canada the lead.
I'm a little bit stunned here. The rally flags are out, and Josh Fearless is showing people why he is in the semifinals. He just beats him glove side. You're not going to stop that shot, especially when you get into the hash marks like he did. If you're Seb, you got to go and maybe take a timeout here. I don't know. Like, slow things down and do what you've been doing. You're only down by 1 right now, so you have plenty of time to kind of collect yourself and make a better decision moving forward with how you're going to move the puck.
JT Miller with the goal. Ben Bishop, the primary and only assist, the goaltender, getting involved here for Josh Fearless. Ryan O'Reilly in the corner, pressed up against the boards, loses possession of it. Taken up and now made a couple passes as Besser just trying to get it back out to neutral ice, turn it over just beyond the red line. Brad Marchand in the offensive end. D-to-D pass. Brent Burns blast from the point, and that one is in. We are just having an onslaught of goals as once again this game is tied.
I'm going to be happy if we get lots of goals and they happen on both sides of the ice, because it's going to make things really exciting for the players as we get later into the games, Drew.
Yeah, this is incredible. It is now a 3-3 game. We have seen 4 goals scored, split 3 for Josh and now 1 for Seb in the first 12 minutes of this resumption of play here in what is period number 2. Good job stealing the puck there by Josh in the defensive end, and a nice little spin move by Patrick Kane to center himself. Kane back in the offensive zone. Patrick Kane trying to move away from the pressure. That's Connor McDavid. Kane does a good job getting away from him. Gets it up for Carlson. Doesn't take the shot, just decides to step in, trying to draw a couple of attackers over for Suter. Suter with a little bit of space back for Carlson. His shot was denied by Carey Price. Puck behind the net. Austin Matthews escaping from as many as 3 players and gets it to Patrick Kane. Kane circling yet again, trying to center himself. Patrick Kane, the wrist shot. It is gloved down, knocked down by Carey Price and moved out the other way. Seb on the rush, 1-on-3, gets it back for Bergeron. It was tipped in front and turned aside by Ben Bishop. Doubting it for Shabbat. That one generating a rebound chance for McDavid, and Bishop stands tall. Carlson exiting the zone, under 3 minutes to go here in the second period of this contest. Carlson in the offensive end. This game is tied 3-3. All 3 goals for the team going up. Josh Fearless dressed in white as Team USA. All 3 of those have come in this period, and then the game-tying goal on the stick of Brent Burns as Seb knotted this one up at 3-3. Suter resetting from his own end. Final 45 seconds of the first period. The final 10 seconds are in real time. Cross-ice feed for Dylan Larkin, and that one read and intercepted and moved out the other way. McDavid crossing the blue line. 6 seconds left. Puck towards the corner. We'll see if this one is just killed off, as it will be. That is the end of an incredibly eventful second period of play. This game is 3-3 after 2.
All right, so if I don't know who's happier about how that period ended, Josh or Seb, because if you're Seb, you said, oh my goodness, what happened there? 3 goals and I can't keep up and something went crazy and you got one back and you tied it. You said, okay, I'm back to even. If you're Josh, you said, okay, I rebounded and I got 3 goals. So I'm not sure who's happier, but I know that we have a great third period to look forward to here.
I would hope it's the people who are watching this are the happiest at this point. You're seeing 6 goals through 2 periods between 2 of the best players on the PlayStation 4 side. And hey, Snoop Dogg joining us in the booth to make things even better.
Yeah, I didn't know if Snoop wanted to come in and make a statement about what he wanted to say here. What do you think about the game so far, Snoop? I guess he's having connection troubles.
Yeah. Well, you know, we appreciate him stopping by anyway. Hopefully he'll just stick around and watch the remainder of this game, because it is a beauty so far. 3-3 after 2. This is the third period. Now, because of the way this game had to restart after the disconnect during the first intermission, the final minute of this third period would normally run a full 60 seconds. Instead, this third period will run based off of normal game time, so only the final 10 seconds of the period will be in real time. And there's a quick shot right off the blocker of Ben Bishop and covered up with 15:55 to go in the second.
And if by some way, shape, or form, Drew, this is tied in aggregate at the end of this period, which is the third period of this game, the third in-game period will be an overtime period with the first person scoring going on to win the game.
We will see. We have not been able to work an overtime game together in this series just yet, as we have a D-to-D pass, and that one splitting the tie. Sean Monahan, anything but boring with that shot.
That was a great feed, and there's the patience again from Seb, kind of working it around, finding it behind the back of the net, getting to the point, and then just ripping one all the way through. He was clear. Now, Fearless taking on one of the wingers, so that middle of the ice was open for that D to D pass to shot.
It's always interesting when you see the positioning of the players that these guys like to do or like to use when they're playing 1v1 hockey. Monahan holding the position of defense, and that was his player right there, but a save made by Carey Price. So storing someone like Monahan at the point instead of a defenseman to try to increase your offensive output. Nice little spin move there by Carlson, getting away from the attack, centering feed. The rebound goes right to Carlson. It's on the doorstep, and Monahan scoops it up to move it out of harm's way.
Unlucky break there for Fearless. Couldn't bury that home. It was blocked by a great defensive move by Seb.
Stamkos in the offensive end. Back for Shabbat. Pressed by Goudreau, but gets away. Moving in, down low, just dropping it in past Ben Bishop. And it is now a 5-3 game.
You got about 6 different options when you drive the lane into the slot and make a decision. Drew, you can wrist shot it. You go forehand, backhand, a little bit of a deke, maybe a pass. No, he chooses option number 7, which is the one-hand windmill tuck. And that was not what I expected to see right there. Yet again, Seb showing why maybe he was the quiet underdog so far here in the competition.
He was shown doors A through C, and he opted for door Z.
I like it.
And yes, I used the international pronunciation because that was obviously a goal scored by Team Sweden, so I wanted to make sure it matched on that.
I like you paying homage. It's nice.
Try a little bit. Pietrangelo holds it in the zone right outside the point. And now under 10 minutes to go here in regulation time. The feed for Sagan. Nice save made by Bishop. And a couple passes later, Gensel will get it out of the zone. Gensel up for Kessel. Former teammates with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kessel in the corner. Nice little spin move to get away from the pressure of the computer attacker, but loses possession moments later. And now it's in the offensive end once again for Seb. Forced back towards neutral ice as he got a line change going. Good pressure from Max Pacioretty, but still moved up as we now have 7 minutes remaining here in the third. Nice steal. Opportunity here. Can Josh tie it? The rush is slowed down. Really good back check, just getting back, and that pass ends up back at neutral ice. Pacioretty back in the offensive end, in for Torrey Krug. Pushed off the puck by Brent Burns. Burns taking it, moving it towards the slot. Interesting tactic there. A couple passes later, it's Jonathan Huberdeau. Centered for Scheifele, down low for O'Reilly. Pushed on goal. Bishop made the save and then dropped it back to O'Reilly. Puck sent towards the slot. Kyle Connor skating out with it. And we're now down to the final 4 minutes and 10 seconds of this contest. It is the third period. It's a 5-3 game. Seb trying to make it 6-3 with possession here in the offensive end. Drew Doughty, his pass blocked by Pacioretty, but he gets it back and skates back towards neutral ice. This is that patience we were talking about. Not hesitating to just skate the puck back out of the zone and reset. But here comes Pacioretty. 2:15 to go, he's in the corner. Pacioretty pressed and knocked off the puck in the corner. Nice takeaway there by Seb, and now McDavid up for O'Reilly, and they're in neutral ice. Again, the final minute in the third period would normally be real time, but in this case, it's only the final 10 seconds because of that restart. And here, maybe one last chance for Josh to try and get one back. The game appears to be going to Seb. The puck is all the way back in the other end. 5 seconds left. Can he build on his lead? It's 5-3. 2 seconds left. Pushed it on goal. Covered up with 1.2. And we look like this is going to be a 5-3 final, as Seb will definitely be giving Team Sweden the lead after game 1 of 4.
That's right. And we talk about that garbage time. There was no garbage time. He was trying to build upon that lead to get one more goal for his team before the game was over.
Almost generating a shot on goal there at the horn, but 5-3, a +2 game for Seb, and that has Team Sweden on top in the aggregate scoring, as we now will be switching from the PlayStation side to the Xbox side of things. And a little bit of ground to make up for Nuke here, as he is going to start this game at -2. It'll be a 0-0 game, so normal overtime rules will apply should they be tied at the end of regulation in that game. But you got to start cutting into this deficit now. You don't want to leave that to the second half of this series.
That's exactly right. So Nuke down 2 goals in his second quarter, if you want to call it, if you want to make an American football reference. You're in the second quarter of the game, down by 2 scores. So now you have to respond that way and look at the game a lot different than last time we saw Team Canada, where they were up by 5 going into game number 2.
So we'll see how they respond in that contest as we switch from the PlayStation side to the Xbox side in just about 4 or 5 minutes. So make sure you just hang on, go get yourself a drink, get some popcorn the way this series has started. We'll be back in just a few minutes with game number 2.
Take it to it. Take it to it. Take it to it.
Welcome back to the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship. We have one game in the books. Game 2 is coming up. Drew Goldfarb and Nick DeMeo with you here. As we switch from the PlayStation side to the Xbox side, it is Nuke versus Ekin. This is going to be a very interesting matchup to see how Nuke responds since his team is now down by 2 with one game in the books.
If Nuke is the best player in NHL, as he may claim to be with what he's done so far, and the little rivalry between him and Josh Fearless, I think being down by 2 is manageable. Anything more is kind of tough, especially when you're going into a game having to get to even before you can even start your build. However, I think he can do that. On the other side, though, I've not seen much play from Ekin through my entire career as a broadcaster, so I'm going to be really interested to see how he can respond. He's in a comfortable lead, 2 up. I don't think you take your foot off the gas by no means, especially against a team this talented. However, it does allow you to push a little bit, and if you make a mistake, you're not dead in the water to start the game.
Yeah, Ekin 4-0 so far in tournament play. Only one of those games decided by a single goal, so he's won by multiple goal margins in 3 out of the 4, and he had to beat 5 opponents just to earn the right to represent Sweden on the Xbox console in this tournament to begin with. So he's won 9 straight games in international play, including the qualifying rounds, just to get into this tournament. So a very difficult task. On the other side, obviously, when you're looking at Nuke in this situation, like his teammates, split the first round against Team USA, but 2 big wins that we saw in that last one against Lady Brunette of Slovakia. We were covering that game, and the second one was really close, a 3-2 finish, but 6-2 the first time out. So likes to come out of the gate strong, and that last game, that was the game 4 of that series, really could have afforded to play kind of a bit of a prevent defense, again, to use an American football analogy, where you could just kind of sit back and just not let the game go haywire and still manage to win that contest.
Right, and I think he did that even though the puck ended up on the doorstep of the red line to force OT. It did not go in, and that results in them moving on to the next round, which is right now.
So game number 2 is about to start here. Again, wearing the Team USA colors and the white jerseys going up on your screen, that will be Nuke representing Team Canada. You see Sidney Crosby taking the draw there for the team dressed in red as Team Canada. That is Ekin, as he has possession in the offensive zone for Team Sweden. Back up top for the point. Always interesting when you see the difference in lineup. Sidney Crosby playing the, I believe, on a wing position for Seb in that first game, and now back to his natural centerman spot. So always interesting to kind of see the way that these players use, as we have an offside, use their lineups, the same lineup even, to gear it more towards their playing style.
A little bit of that, and also they like the certain handedness. If you're in the center or on the wing, you want to have on a certain left hand, right hand. So they make adjustments for that, and they also put wingers as defenders sometimes. So it's interesting to see how they pick and choose that.
Long shot kicked aside, and now cleared out of the zone by Nuke. Only got it to the other red, or the center ice red line before it was knocked away and taken away by Ekin. In the corner, Bergeron playing it back up top for the point. Huge hit made by Phil Kessel. Didn't knock the defender down onto the ice, but at least separated from the puck momentarily. That will eventually lead to this, where now Jonathan Huberdeau in the corner battling for possession, and it will be Nuke that will skate out of the zone with it. Try to center again. Huberdeau right there in that passing lane for the intercept. Over 5 minutes gone by here in period number 1. This game is 0-0. The series is 5-3. That wrister is kicked aside and sent towards the corner. Another opportunity, offensive zone possession here for Ekin. Trying to just find a lane for a pass there, D to D, and now stepping in deep from the corner. Drew Doughty just keeping the puck away from the opposition, and now that feed, well read and intercepted. Austin Matthews was in that lane as that pass was intended for Patrice Bergeron, but never found its way through. We're not seeing the goals just yet, but the possession battle seems to be sided in the same way that the first period of game number 1 was going at. Not maybe to that same extent, but Ekin has done a really good job again of being patient here as Huberdeau tried to move it towards the slot and got knocked off the puck. Dylan Larkin making the pass up to clear the zone as Blake Wheeler entering the offensive end now for Nuke.
Speed versus possession so far. You're kind of seeing them out of the zone. Who's moving faster? Who's controlling the puck more? And it's going to be an interesting matchup throughout this entire game with these two play styles.
Wheeler trying to enter the offensive end, trying to set something up for Nuke in the offensive zone. What can they do here? Down low, chance, short side shot is turned aside by Carey Price. Zone cleared. 8 minutes to go here in period number 1. The puck into the offensive end for Team Sweden, but immediately turned over there. And now trying to get a bit of a line change, it looks like, is Nuke, who will enter the offensive end. Centering feed, chance perhaps from that face-off dot, now circling behind the net. Seemed to be looking for that pass, did not have the lane as Jack Eichel holds it in the corner, gets it back up top. 6 minutes, 5 seconds, back down low for Eichel. Now playing a bit of the possession game on his own here is Nuke, taking a page from his opponent's playbook. Pressed by Crosby, loses possession, Doughty will scoop it up, and now make a pass, trying to get out of the zone, but it's intercepted. Redden taken away, pushed on goal, and save is made, and that puck on the rebound chance is pushed a little bit wide. 4 minutes left to go. Offensive zone dominance right now. That centering feed on the one-timer is turned aside, and from his backside covering up, and hey, yet again, I mean, it's tournament time. Snoop Dogg just staying in the booth with us the entire tournament, I think, from here on out.
All we're missing is James Cebulski, and we'll have a complete quartet of talent here behind the booth here, Drew.
3.5 to play in this first period. It is still scoreless in this contest. A 5-3 aggregate lead, trying to build on that one, but McDavid's shot went off the side of the net, or may have just scraped the post as it went wide. I think a little too sharp angle of a shooting attempt there to go. Final 2 minutes, Suter down low, circling in that face-off circle right around the dot, now trying to center himself. The feed, the shot denied. 1 minute, 5 seconds to go in period number 1. Can either of these teams break through before that first intermission? Running out of time. The final 10 seconds again will be in real time as the puck is sent all the way back down into Ekin's end. Waiting to stay onside. 4 seconds and 3. One last chance for a shot. The shooting lane is blocked up, and the first period comes to a close with no score in this game.
And I think that's okay, Drew. I think the story we're kind of seeing today, right now from Nuke, is all right. I got to figure out what this Swedish team is about. And Ekin, a really talented player, as you mentioned, going 4-0 and really making a statement coming into this tournament. I think he's got a good matchup, and he's not quite sure how to handle that possession style. And it's a very European style of playing. Don't get me wrong. The U.S. and Canada style of play is about putting pucks on net and with speed, beating them down low and then just finding your lane. Euro, man, they will stand there and they'll just pick you apart methodically. It's the tiki-taka style of Spanish soccer play. And we see that on the ice. I love seeing it, and I think that whole period, you're +0. You got to be happy if you're Ekin, and now Nuke has to put the pressure on.
We'll see if period number 2 is any different here. As an offensive chance off the bat for Ekin. Again, wearing the red and black for Team Canada. Connor McDavid behind the net. McDavid trying to find a lane. He's basically not making a pass or taking a shot unless he feels it is definitely open. Down low, Stamkos trying to make that pass, and a good job of just collapsing on the pass recipient there as Jack Eichel now makes the play to Johnny Gaudreau. Up top, Chance moving towards the corner. Being a little patient on his own is Nuke. Nuke in the corner, pressured by 2 players, gets it back up top for Gaudreau. Played in yet again. Now a chance beneath the goal line, circling away from the defender, which is computer controlled. You can see it is the second player there, and that one-timer is ripped just wide. Good opportunity there, but missed the net by about a foot. Interesting way that strategy on the side of Ekin in the defensive end to try to control not the player that is pressing the puck possessor, that is a lot of P's, but to be the next layer of defense, to try and basically be the prevention if the other player, if Nuke is able to get around the computer, he is there.
Wow.
Ekin is there, controlling someone in there. Oh, big move. Great save made there. That was unreal, and no trip. That was the goaltender coming out to just poke at the puck. Huge opportunity for Nuke, and that one denied. That shot whistling just wide. Holy cow, that was really just a quick opportunity that developed out of nowhere.
And by Nuke getting some speed through that neutral zone, just kind of beat 3 defenders to get the puck. So only thing that Ekin could have done is do the flying poke check, and he did so successfully.
Unbelievable, just the effort on that one and the way that one worked out. Just a crazy play on both sides. Here's an opportunity now as Nuke trying to get on the board first for his team. Under 10 minutes to go here in the second period. Play back to the D. Opportunity now just skating across inside that blue line and lost possession of neutral ice, and now offside with 9:17 to go here in the middle frame.
And you mentioned the time there where we're halfway through the game and we're scoreless so far. I don't know who's going to bend first or who's going to break first, but a lot of bending so far we've seen.
Chance on the rush for Nuke. Centering feed, the quick shot from Larkin may have been deflected by a defender towards the corner. Otherwise, the save made by Carey Price. Puck not quite out of the zone just yet. Well kept, good pressure there. Nuke holding it in the offensive end. Played back for Larkin, but the momentum carries him across the blue line and back to neutral ice. So an offside whistle and stoppage with 7:44 to go here in period number 2.
I think a lot of the people looking for that high-scoring game, they're a little bit disappointed, but maybe you should watch the finer things that are happening, that support role, the second player where the defensive positioning is. There's a lot of strategy happening on the ice right now between these two players.
And that one-time feed is denied. What a pass for Jonathan Huberdeau. And he got the shot exactly the way he wanted, but the goaltender just sprawling across the crease, making the save. That is Connor Hellebuck making the stop. First time I've seen him in this tournament. Connor Hellebuck uses the starting goaltender for Team USA.
That's right, and now we're back the other way here. So a big save on one side from the manual goaltender, big save second on the other way for Team USA. Now Nuke was able to make a save. So I like the battleship style play, shooting a shot, seeing what happens, going back the other way. A4, C5. I don't know which one's going to be A1, but we're going to see soon.
Who will sink their opposing team's battleship first? The way this is with the aggregate, you got to sink them all. You can't just sink the battleship or the submarine or the cruiser, the aircraft carrier. You got to sink everything in order to win in the aggregate. But we will see here. It is a 5-3 aggregate score. That was the aggregate at the end of the first game. Opportunity now in the offensive end for Nuke, but a great job of just keeping enough pressure to eventually force that turnover by Ekin. And now a chance the other way, tucking it in for the goal. Beautiful feed down low, and Patrice Bergeron breaks the scoreless tie.
Breaks the scoreless tie, and there's not much you can do there with the angle that Nuke had coming back into the zone. He had to pick a player. Unfortunately, waited too long to switch there. As you see the replay, bang on the right side, quick shot, quick pass. And that's what you want to see if you're Ekin. He broke the scoreless tie. He's doubled the lead now in aggregate. That's a good position to be in if you're bringing up the second half of this aggregate.
Now a 6-3 score in the aggregate, a 1-0 in this game. Team Sweden in charge of both. From the corner, trying to maybe extend the lead even further. D-to-D pass. A little bit of space, back up top, that long shot taken and turned aside by Hellebuck. Still another opportunity as McDavid plays it up high. Back down low, circling with it was Taylor Hall. Back down low. Chance for Gabriel Landeskog beneath the net, beneath the goal line. That tried to make that one-time feed down low, and it was read and intercepted and moved out the other way, and that should do it for period number 2. 1 goal scored in the frame, and it is by Team Sweden's Ekin as he got the goal with Patrice Bergeron on a beautiful play to make it a 1-0 game and a 6-3 aggregate.
And I'm not sure, how Nuke feels about it. Obviously, he's not going to be happy about it, but you're only down by 1. You're down by 3. I've seen him put up 4 to 5 goals in a period, so it's not like it can't happen. But you kind of got a really best of the best matchup happening in front of you here. Both teams, super talented players on both sides here on Xbox, and it's been interesting to see. It's been fun to watch for sure. And look at the time on attack, 9:52 to 8:57, but shots are under 10 apiece. And that really does tell the story, Drew, on the controlling of the play in the zone. And I think Nuke has switched his style a little bit to kind of match that because he's seeing that Ekin's patient, and you're not going to get those one-and-done chances with rushes. Instead, you have to set something up and build off of what you're establishing in the offensive zone.
Is that what you want to do, though, if you're a top player in the world, if you're playing another world top player, to adjust your style to theirs? Or is there another way to try and capitalize off of the patience of your opponent while using more of a standard strategy that you have used for, to get yourself to this point in the tournament?
It's a great question. And I think what you look at is maybe a little bit of subconscious happening as you're kind of seeing the play develop. You're seeing the game flow kind of fall into places. Okay, I got to take what I'm allowed to take if I can't do what I want to do. And that does fall to the benefit, I think, of Ekin. I think if you're Nuke, you do a lot of D-to-D. That is there. But those rushes aren't there. So what else can you do if you can't get that? You have to change it, right? So I don't think this game is about doing the same thing over and over again and hoping it goes in. Not at this level. I think you have to find something that does work.
Matthews, the cross-ice feed. That one nearly worked, but he just could not sneak it in past Carey Price. That play developed quickly. That one does as well. Austin Matthews picking up the goal. This game is tied, and on the board is Nuke.
And that half-board feed inside the circle is something Nuke likes to do. He finally found room there, and there wasn't much room there, Drew. Look at the replay here. Barely had room to make that shot with 2 defenders coming in, and maybe that was just a split second too late for Ekin to switch his player, but he does so. Nuke, and he puts one home, and now we got a tie game, only down by 2 in the aggregate.
And if you're in a situation, you are only down 2 after that first game if you are Nuke in this situation. And if you can close this game, if you win by any margin, the aggregate is either going to be 1 or 0 or in your favor. And there's a goal to go ahead. Speaking of in their favor, beautiful goal by Max Pacioretty. And now a 2-1 game and a 6-5 aggregate.
The go-ahead goal is there, and the dam isn't breaking. I don't know for Team Sweden, but Nuke is firing up now as you see a pause happening. It looks like that pause is going to be from Ekin, Drew. Probably taking a timeout, maybe. I don't know. But that might be a smart... it looks like it was a timeout indeed. So kind of recollecting and regathering his thoughts and just getting his team a breather before we continue in this 3 quarters left of the third period.
Just a 1-goal deficit in the aggregate, and even if you're entering the second half, on either side at this point, if you are down 1 in the aggregate, you are easily in contention as that quick shot goes right in the glove of Carey Price. And now playing it back out is Ekin, sending it towards neutralize. It's interesting in this kind of a situation, if you have a 2-1 game, if this were to, I mean, we've got tons of time left, especially the way as we just see a huge check in the zone for Nuke in his defensive end. But if you are separated by 1 on either side, you're basically playing, if you just win the 2 games on the back end, that's it. All you have to do is win, not by any margin. You just need a win. And that is where we're at now, is that if you win, if you are Team Canada, which again dresses Team USA for this series, if you can find a way to win games, you're looking good right now.
Yeah, you are. And I think that's what we're going to see here is what can we do to manage a game? And that's what we talked about opening up this series is who's going to manage the game, who's going to manage the periods. Obviously, Nuke is doing his job and finding a way to make it work for him, and we're seeing success on the ice.
Centering pass was read and intercepted by Ekin as he will move it out. Bank pass off the board, trying to chase it down now behind the net, but it's scooped up there by one of the players for Nuke and cleared back out to center. Centering feed, read and intercepted, and now we are down to 7 minutes remaining here in the third period. A 6-5 aggregate lead for Team Sweden, but in this game, it is a 2-1 advantage for Nuke and Team Canada. Looking for that time marker is Ekin, again, being very just conscious of time possession, and that shot generating a rebound chance was denied, and a good job there of clearing the zone by Nuke. Just send it back out, because had that puck sat there an extra half second, it might have resulted in a goal. But on the other side, there's a one-time feed. The aggregate is tied. It's a 3-1 game filled with thrill.
And now we got a close one again. I like this happening late in the third period, and I like to read the chat as well here, Drew. And I'm seeing that Nuke's lines, we always change our lines. We always switch players out. We see that in the tournament. Did not save. He is playing with the default lineup right now for Team USA and is able to do what he's doing right now, getting adjusted, making those adjustments, and now winning the game and tying up the aggregate. That's what you want to do if you are him, and he did that.
3 minutes separates us from going to halftime of this series with the aggregate tied. It's a 3-1 game, but a chance now to build off of that. The puck, good stick lift there, down low, right along the crease, the red line circling that crease area to make that steal by Ekin, because the difference between being down 3-1 and 4-1 is that, because a quick turnaround the other way and a feed down low. Brad Marchand picking up the marker, and the game is 3-2, and once again, Team Sweden holds the lead in the aggregate.
And that's the same thing we saw in the previous goal from Ekin, that down low pass, splitting the defense, just finding the right angle, and this one was the other way around, so going to the right side instead of the left side. And as we see here now, leading in shots is Team Sweden by 1. And now Nuke has taken a timeout to do the same thing that Ekin tried to do with no success. We'll see if it works for Nuke here with over 90 seconds to go in the third period.
It's a 3-2 game, but you know that Nuke would love to tie up the aggregate as we're in that final real-time minute to close this one out. And you know on the other side, Ekin is hoping to force OT in this contest. Here's an opportunity on the backhand, tucks it in past Hellebuck, and we are tied with 47.4 to go. Tyler Sagan doing the honors.
Oh man, we've got a game, and I think we have a really good series on our hands, Drew. This is the back and forth that we've wanted, especially from two top caliber players, two top caliber teams. You see the backhand though, and with options there, Taylor Hall just sitting right there as well. So room to choose, and he chooses the backhand, ties the game up, and restores the 2-goal aggregate lead here in the game.
Quick rush for Jake Gensel going the other way right off the faceoff, but a good job lifting the stick by Brent Burns, forcing that turnover. Successful in getting it out of the zone is Ekin, now in the offensive end with a couple passing chances, and that one centered towards the slot as Hellebuyck making the glove save and hanging on with 31.7 to go in regulation.
Might have been a small mistake there. I think that Ekin was looking for that down low on the left side of the goaltender, and he did not find it. Instead went in the middle, and Hellebuyck able to make the save.
Crosby wins the faceoff back. Quick pass from the defenseman down low, and that shot attempt was blocked. Nuke trying to lead a rush, maybe get a little of offensive zone presence here and some pressure in the final moments of regulation, but could not get it into the zone with possession. Turnover at the other blue line as well. Now on a rush, Eichel, centered, chance down low, forehand shot kicked away and covered up for the whistle by Carey Price. A beautiful save made as Ekin keeps this game tied at 3.
Tied at 3, almost broke the tie, but did not, unfortunately, and we see the defensive posture here from Ekin to kind of keep the puck out of his net.
Ekin brings it towards the slot, skates it out, long pass, final second, tries to take the shot, save made by Hellebuyck at the horn. And for the first time in a game that we are covering in this tournament, you and I, we have some extra bonus hockey on the Xbox side.
I'm excited for bonus hockey this time of year, and now we have it. I'm looking forward to this, and this is actually a pretty pivotal goal differential that we're going into OT with, Drew. Team Canada down by 2 goals, tied going into overtime in this particular game. If they get a goal here, you're only down by 1. Completely manageable for any team to be down by 1 going to game 3. However, if Team Sweden scores, they're going to be up by 3, and that is a little bit more difficult to manage. So this goal could pretty much kind of set the tone for the next 6 periods ahead or more if we go to bonus hockey. Of course, 2 OT, 3 OT, who knows? But the way these guys are scoring, I don't know what we're going to see, and this is going to be interesting to watch.
We are getting underway in overtime now. Let us know in the chat who gets the game-winning goal. Which player for which team will score the game winner. I always love a little, not butchy overtime challenge. That centering feed right on net as Hellebuyck making the save just a minute into overtime. Skating the other way, trying to find the game winner. Patrick Kane in the corner along the boards, now thinks better of it. Circling around right around the hash marks, plays it up top, D to D, trying to find a shooting lane perhaps. Eichel with it. Skates down low towards the corner and playing it back up top. Being very patient is Nuke. Kane trying to circle with it. Bumped away from the puck, trying to get it back from Stamkos, but Stamkos will skate it away and clear the zone. 16:30 to go here in overtime. Trying to center himself was McDavid, but lost possession of the puck as it ends up back in neutral ice. Waiting for his teammates to get back on side, and then Ekin re-entering the zone, but losing possession immediately. Bank pass on up for Austin Matthews. On the rush, Matthews has Kane down low in the slot, but a good job using the manual defense. And a turnover and a tip-in! It's all over! The win in overtime goes to Nuke as Patty Kane picking up the marker. 4-3 is your final, and the aggregate now sits separated by just a single goal. It is 8-7 in favor of Team Sweden at the half.
Oh no, my jaw completely dropped. Potentially the only mistake Ekin made in that entire game cost him the game and the pretty much the grip over the series as Team Canada claws back into it. 1 goal down going into game 3. Wow.
Unbelievable finish to that game. That one, I would say that was the most competitive game we have seen in games that you and I have covered during this tournament. I cannot wait for game 4 of this series because if this one is close, and we could be looking at a tie series, a 1-goal win by Josh Fearless in game 3 would mean that the aggregate would be tied heading into game number 4. Considering it was a 5-3 final in game 1, it's not out of the realm of possibility. We could literally have a tie aggregate with 3 games down. At halftime, though, Your thoughts, Nick, before we take a quick break going into game number 3.
I'm shocked. I love what I'm seeing. I like this series so far. And so far, we've had a little bit of everything, right? A little bit of getting used to players, a high scoring couple of periods, a defensive game here with 4-3. Yeah, it turned out to be 4-3, but that was a highly defensive game for sure. Low shots happening, different play styles, different adaptations. I'm so thrilled. And I hope everybody watching at home is thrilled as well.
We'll be back in just a minute with a look at game number 3 as we switch back to the PlayStation 4 side for this tournament game between Canada and Sweden.
Take it to it. Take it to it.
Welcome back to our coverage of the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship. Drew Goldfarb, Nick DeMeo with you here. And what a series we've got at the halftime spot, because it is 8-7 in favor of Team Sweden on top of Team Canada. And we just had an overtime winner by Team Canada in game number 2 to close that gap to just 1 in the aggregate.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? Oh my goodness, Drew. This is like exactly what somebody would want if they wanted the semifinals matchup that has just a lot of drama, a lot of excitement, and a lot of skill. You're getting all of that here, and both teams have put on a great performance so far at halftime. If this is the halftime show, I'm satiated, baby, and I'm ready for game number 3.
Cannot wait to see what happens here in game number 3. Josh Fearless falling 5-3 as you see the score from game number 1 on your screen right now against Seb. It was a great back and forth game, because that was a situation where it was 2-0 in favor of Team Sweden. Then it was 3-2 in favor of Team Canada. And then it ended up being a 5-3 final with Seb coming back to pick up that victory. So anything could happen. I'm really excited to see the way that the final 60 minutes between these two players goes, to see if Maybe we enter game 4 with an aggregate separation of 2 goals or 3 goals in favor of Team Sweden. Maybe we enter it tied. If we can see a win from Josh Fearless in this game, we could be tied or even have Team Canada ahead heading into game number 4. This one is nowhere near over, and I feel pretty comfortable in saying, and I know that that's the broadcaster's curse, I feel pretty comfortable in saying that because the aggregate here entering the second half is only 1 goal, and we've already seen the team that's trailing win game number 2 by 1 goal, it seems like this is a situation where you could kind of have anything happen in game 3, and game 4 is still going to be interesting and still going to be competitive, because all you have to do if you are, regardless of which team wins, if you are on the other side waiting to play game 4, if you can match what your opponent's counterpart did here in this coming game, you're in good shape.
That's exactly right, and this is why this aggregate series is one of my favorite ways of watching esports hockey. I am so thrilled to bring you game 3 here alongside with you, Drew.
And we are underway as we have an offside whistle at 19:20 to go here in the first period, so just a few seconds into the first and a quick stoppage. And as a reminder, Team Canada's Josh Fearless is dressed as Team USA in the white jerseys going up on your screen. Seb, representing Team Sweden, is wearing the black and red jerseys of Team Canada going down on your screen. That's just the way that these teams had lined up as far as the way that they had picked their teams for this contest. Matthews trying to center for Eichel, and that one knocked away and taken out by Connor McDavid. McDavid towards the corner, plays it back up top for Brent Burns. Moving in, down low is Burns, behind the net, looking to set something up. Bishop again returning to the goal for Team Canada's version of Team USA in this game. We saw Hellebuck in game number 2. This is Bishop back in net. McKinnon behind the goal. Bumped off the puck by Ryan Suter, and Suter will play it on ahead. Good pass up for Patrick Kane. Crossing the blue line in the offensive zone, drops it off for Matthews, rips the wrister and in, and this aggregate is tied, and the lead in this game belongs to Josh Fearless.
I was going to say, it'll be curious to see what Josh Fearless does if he steps up and gets a little bit more aggressive. We're seeing that aggressive style play kind of take shape here as we move through this first period so far. He's taken a little bit more chances, trying to force a couple of things, and that time he just had some room and ripped one to beat the goalie. Now he's up 1-0 in the game and tied up the aggregate. That's more important right there as we see a tip. Wow.
Huge opportunity as Blake Wheeler got the stick on the shot from Zach Werenski at the point, a little bit on goal, but the save was made as Carey Price recovered. Taylor Hall plays it back for Drew Doughty. Down low again for Hall in the corner. Good pressure there and a nice steal made by Josh as he takes it away and feeds Johnny Gaudreau in the offensive end. Back for Blake Wheeler. Wheeler moving towards the corner, trying to find a little bit of room, getting around Taylor Hall. Wheeler centers, and that one read and intercepted as Tavares got in that passing lane and did not allow it to get through to Gaudreau. Larkin in the offensive end, under 12 minutes to go. Drops it back. Gaudreau rips that wrister off of a skate and wide. Jones for Larkin. Behind the net, Doughty making the steal. Just a really nice takeaway. And we'll skate it out of the zone and feed it to Sidney Crosby as they go for a line change. Crosby keeping it in the zone. Huberdeau trying to drop it back, and a really nice job of swooping in by Gaudreau. He'll go off for a line change as Kessel now has it. Gaudreau staying on the ice. Kessel with it. Back up top for Jacob Trouba. D to D. McDonough rips that shot just wide. Shabbat feeding it up for Huberdeau. Now in the offensive end. Jonathan Huberdeau dropping it. Pietrangelo stepping in. The defenseman pinching down low. Tavares will pick it up and try to move it back. Gives it to Pietrangelo. 8 minutes to go here in period number 1. Phil Kessel picking it up for Josh and now moving it out of the zone successfully. Great job just splitting a couple of defenders there. Gets it to JT Miller. Back for Kessel. For Miller on that shot. He scores and it's 2-0. And for the first time since game number 1, the aggregate lead belongs to Team Canada.
If you didn't already know it, I think we got a game here. We have a definite series for sure. Great heads-up awareness to go back out to the circle for Josh Fearless to put one home and beat Carey Price, just sprawling out. Just a great angle, great velocity on the shot. And the game's well in hand now, I think, Drew, of Josh Fearless so far here in the first period.
Blocker down but an offside. That one was looking like it was going to be dangerous, but the puck was just offside, so the shot didn't count, and the puck will come back out to neutralize for a face-off with 5:57 to go here in the first. A 2-0 advantage for Josh Fearless that has given a 1-goal edge, 9-8 in the aggregate scoring in favor of Team Canada, again, dressed as Team USA for this series against Sweden, dressed as Team Canada. Marchand burns that shot from the point, just beats Ben Bishop, and now the aggregate is tied back up, and it's a 2-1 game.
This is a next level of a ping pong matchup, man. I'm telling you, you're seeing the back and forth. We're throwing it your way. Okay, what are you going to do with it? All right, cool. I can respond to that. Got it. Responds back the other way. Seb with a great answer to 2 unanswered goals so far, and then he was able to do another point shot back the other way. So I like seeing what's happening.
Unbelievable. The game is tied.
Just
Holy
as I
cow.
was saying, the response was a great thing that was happening for Team Sweden. We have another goal, Drew, and Patrice Bergeron that time just staying with it as the puck trickles by that weak 5-hole of Ben Bishop. That's been his IRL and in NHL weakness.
And it was Connor McDavid that managed to poke it a little bit through and then just finished off by Bergeron, making sure that that one was not going to stop before crossing the goal line. And what a start to this matchup. Under 3.5 to play in the first. It was 2-0 in favor of Josh Fearless. It is now 2-2 as Seb has stormed back. Werenski, D to Jones. That shot is whistled wide. The 2 Blue Jackets defensemen out there at the same time as a defensive pairing. Werenski lost his man as Scheifele managed to center himself momentarily, but with 90 seconds left, Eichel making the pass for Kane, and now in the offensive end, Patrick Kane pulling up, losing possession as Scheifele will pick up a loose puck. Feed for O'Reilly and now Marchand. Under 30 to play. Long pass is a little out of reach. Pietrangelo will scoop it up. 10 seconds left, the final 10 in real time as the puck poked into the offensive zone here. Seb trying to get the lead for the first time in this game. D to D, long shot blocked, and Pacioretty will make a quick pass to Eichel as the period comes to a close. What a first period that was. 4 goals evenly split. It is 2-2 in the game and 10-9 in the aggregate scoring, with Sweden still holding that slight edge.
I don't have many words for what we're witnessing today. This is a heck of a performance by both teams so far, and Seb able to answer quickly and with authority, even though the puck trickled in. Drew, I don't think that's indicative of what he did to get that goal, which was go to work, put pucks on net, get some shots in there, and as we look at the replay there of that laser from Brent Burns, that was nice to see.
And this was McDavid's shot that managed to sneak through a little bit. It may have gone underneath the glove of Ben Bishop and then just sat on the doorstep for Patrice Bergeron to just swoop in and knock it home. It's not the hardest shot he ever had to take, but it was a big one. 2-2 after 1, and period number 2 is now underway. Matthews winning the draw off the tie-up with Patrice Bergeron. Ryan Suter will enter the zone offensively here for Josh, but loses possession right along, but just shy of being technically in the corner in the offensive end, as Seb moves it the other way. Here's an opportunity, getting around one defender. Leave back for Bergeron. That centering feed from McKinnon was intercepted as Matthews passes to Kane to exit the zone. Kane in the offensive end. Good puck possession, gets it back for Suter. Quick wrister, hit the iron, the rebound chance tucked in. Austin Matthews has his second, and once again the lead belongs to Josh Fearless. It's 3-2 in the game.
3-2 in the game, and there goes the other way. Josh Fearless staying with the puck all the way. One off the iron. Rebound chance finally goes in, and now he's back in control of the game.
Crosby down low for Stamkos, and we're tied yet again. Just enough time to catch your breath, and another goal put on the board.
I don't know if we should be talking about these goals anymore. Every time we do, something crazier happens as we see a goal happening similar to the last game. We saw that down low angle, finding some room, putting one home, and we're back tied here in the particular game with Team Sweden taking a 1-goal lead again in the aggregate.
Larkin has the puck poked away. Johnny Gaudreau scoops it up. We've seen 2 goals in the first 3.5 minutes, and Larkin tried to make it another one in this period, but getting it back to Suter. Some space. Ryan Suter creating a little extra room, knocked by Hall, but keeps possession and gets it to Gaudreau. Gaudreau trying to find a little space. May have been thinking of getting it to Dylan Larkin. He's got Blake Wheeler in front, but loses possession as Monahan takes it away. Good board pin by Larkin, but it's cleared out of the zone by Seb, and that will be sent all the way down the ice for an icing. And for the first time this period, we have a stoppage that is not the result of a goal.
Well, that's good, because now we can breathe.
JT Miller looking to win the draw back to Jones, but a good tie-up on the other side as Seb maintains possession and clears the zone. Taylor Hall back in the offensive end now on the other side. Just over 6 minutes gone by. Hall just tried to go to his forehand and ran out of real estate. Could not get it on goal. Gensel up for Jones, but intercepted by Pietrangelo. In the offensive end is the defenseman. Pietrangelo spins, shoots, and the save is made by Ben Bishop. Gensel crossing the red line and the opposing blue line in the offensive end now. 8 minutes gone by in the second as Gensel gets knocked down to the ice and loses the puck, trying to get it right back from Shabbat, but Shabbat will make the long pass up for Huberdeau. In the offensive end, Huberdeau chasing it down in the corner. Taken away. Chance, though. Puck was loose, and Miller got there and just banks it off the boards and out of the zone, just trying to get a little bit of a reset as we approach the halfway point of this contest. 10 minutes left in the second period. This game is tied at 3. The aggregate is 11-10 in favor of Team Sweden. Game 3 of 4. Jake Gensel in the offensive end. Trying to play it back, but his defensemen had both gone for a change, so it'll be played there by Ben Bishop. Interesting pass, keeping it behind the net at least. So after a board pin and a steal, Josh Fearless able to move it out of the zone. Could have been dangerous, but at least that puck was passed behind the net, so not an immediate danger. Kessel in the other end. Knocked off the puck in the corner. Pass up as it's chipped ahead for McDavid. Trying to enter the offensive end and does. McDavid, great move, trying to go to the backhand and a back check. Pokes it off of his stick. Brent Burns with it, circling. 6:15 to go. Switching sides with the other defenseman. Brent Burns. Pass for Riley. Long shot taken. Blocked down in front. Scheifele scooping it up. Taken away by Pacioretty and back by Scheifele. Riley up top. Trying to get it for McDavid. That pass shot did not have Scheifele as low down as I think he thought he was going to be. And now it's a rush the other way. Kyle Connor obliterated. Knocked down. Still down on the ice, and that could lead to a rush the other way. Here's a chance. O'Reilly for Scheifele. Backhand pass between the legs, but off the mark, and that centering feed for O'Reilly was intercepted. Austin Matthews skating out with it. 3:15 to go in period number 2. A 3-3 contest. Pacioretty trying to spin it towards the slot, but it was read and intercepted. Nice little kick by Matthews, getting the puck back towards neutral ice, and Patrick Kane in the offensive end now. Kane trying to play a little bit of keep away. Gets back towards the slot, but didn't want to take the backhander. Now on the forehander, but has it poked away and gets it right back is Austin Matthews. Ryan O'Reilly chipping it on ahead of neutral ice. Staying on side and entering the zone is Suter in the corner, pinned up against the boards. Ryan Suter strong arms his way out of it. Tyler Seguin intercepting the pass. We're in the final 20 seconds of an eventful period number 2. We began the period 2-2. It's 3-3. One last rush to close out the period for Seguin, but he turns it over, and we will go to the third period with this game tied at 3.
Can you breathe yet now on your chance? That was a lot of back and forth action. Only 5 shots to 4, but that doesn't change the fact that there's been high speed action happening on both sides of the ice so far, Drew. And I'm really happy with what we've seen. We've seen a heck of a back and forth game. One person makes a shot, makes a statement. The other person responds and answers. And this probably isn't going to be the last time we say that in this game, let alone in this series.
20 minutes left of regulation time in this PS4 matchup between Josh Fearless and Seb. The game is 3-3. The first game ended with a 5-3 final and also went to the locker room after 2 periods, tied at 3. And there were only 2 goals scored in that third period, both from Seb. We'll see if this is the same or different as that long shot goes a little wide of the net. Brent Burns doing a good job of keeping the puck away from the pressure of Josh Fearless and gets it in, but a penalty taken. First time we've seen it in this contest. Patrick Kane off for 2.
It's a costly penalty there for Josh Fearless. We'll see if he can kill this one off. I don't think we've seen a penalty so far in this game.
We haven't in this game. We saw that 5-on-3 back in game number 1. It was a 2-minute 5-on-3 that resulted in 1 goal scored by Seb. This is the first penalty we have seen taken since then. A shorthanded chance, but unable to get the backhander off was Josh Fearless. Eichel still trying to keep things in the offensive end, but loses possession. Now it's moving out the other way. 50 seconds left on the man advantage. Scheifele, wrister, he hit the iron. Crosby scoops it up from behind the net, circling with it, looking for a passing lane or a potential wraparound. Has his man in front, could not get it to Taylor Hall and thinks better of it. Monahan for Scheifele, back over for Hall, but Eichel intercepts it. And now, with 5 seconds left in the power play, this penalty is done. We're back to 5-on-5. Goudreau in the other end, waiting for his teammates to set up. Carlson doing the same at the point, forced back towards neutral ice. And 4.5 minutes have gone by here in this third period. Crosby skates it out of the defensive end, crossed the red line, and now the opposing blue line. Forced back towards neutral ice. Crosby resetting, pressured by Dylan Larkin. Larkin trying to make a steal, but Crosby with a nice pass towards the center ice faceoff dot, and Taylor Hall. Hall behind the net, behind Ben Bishop. What will he do with it here? 6.5 gone by in this final regulation time period. Puck in the corner, now up for Doughty. D-to-D, Riley's shot is blocked by Larkin, never found its way through. Riley yet again, cross ice for Bergeron. Little bit of space, gets it to Doughty. Pressed, tried to bank it down low, but did not get the angle he wanted, as it will be cleared of the zone. Patrick Kane in the offensive end now for Josh Fearless. Banked up top for Carlson. Pressured by McKinnon. Carlson keeping it away from him. Back up for Trouba. And now Kane. Kessel coming back up top towards the point and plays it to Trouba. Across for Larkin, but that one knocked away and back towards neutral ice. Waiting for his teammates to tag up is Trouba as we are past the halfway point here in the third and final regulation period. Kessel on the rush. Forehand shot turned aside by Carey Price. Kessel scooping up the rebound down low. Kicks it ahead to Patrick Kane. Kane back towards the corner. A good steal there by Drew Doughty as Seb will take it away. Loses it. JT Miller for Patrick Kane, and he scores. The lead once again belongs to Josh Fearless.
Another costly mistake by Team Sweden leads to a goal down low. I don't know what happened there. It was a smart steal. Seb able to control the puck, but then kind of back skated and got bumped by a stronger player. I don't think he expected to be bumped off of it that quickly. And now we're tied up in the aggregate 11-11. There's only about 8 minutes left to go here.
It was a beautiful poke check by JT Miller, clean as can be in the offensive end. Trying to get to Kessel again was Jake Gensel there, but just that beautiful poke check allowed Patrick Kane to have it all alone down low, and now trying to tie it up, and doing so is Jonathan Huberdeau. The game is 4-4.
A great rebounded effort, rallying the troops and not letting that mistake really get the best of him in this aggregate series. We always know the goals are important, not the game result. So he's able to go forward and take the lead again here in this aggregate game. What more would you want if you're Seb right now?
Timeout called by Josh Fearless with 7 minutes and 10 seconds to go in regulation. Shots on goal, low for both sides. Each team has hit some iron once or twice, but only 6 shots on goal each. Here's Patrick Kane for Eichel. The lead again belongs to Josh Fearless. Back and forth we go, end to end, and this time it's Eichel as the lead returns to Team Canada, and the aggregate is once again tied.
So that's 3 goals scored in about 2 in-game minutes in about 45 seconds of actual time.
Matthews was trying to set up Eichel yet again for that one as we're under 5.5 to go here in regulation. Can Seb tie this contest up yet again? This is McDavid in the offensive zone. Loses the puck, and it's played back by Brent Burns. Up for Riley, and now Bergeron entering the offensive end and forced off the puck by Austin Matthews as Jack Eichel, who has the most recent goal in this game, had possession and plays it to Ryan Suter. Under 3.5 to go as Suter banks it into the offensive end. I believe they're going for a bit of a line change. That allows Seb to just play it a little bit and try to move it out. Brent Burns with a little bit of speed gets around one attacker in the offensive end, in the corner. Brent Burns, big defenseman. Huge shot, and he had the first goal of the game scored by Seb, but turns it over. Carlson, 90 seconds remaining here in regulation. If this score holds, we are guaranteed a winner determined in the next one, but there's a go-ahead goal yet again in the aggregate scoring as Blake Wheeler has made this a 2-goal game And just as I was about to describe that if it's a 1-goal victory for Team Canada, it means that we must have a winner determined in the final game of the series, Wheeler gives the aggregate lead to Team Canada with exactly 60 seconds to go.
Fearless has fought back and now taken the lead for his team in the series. This is exactly what you wanted to do coming into this game.
Stamkos lost it to Larkin. Larkin going to circle around and try to kill off a little bit of time. That long pass is intercepted by Doughty. Here we go the other way. Under 40 seconds to go. Drew Doughty on that forehand. It was blocked manually. Very well played by Josh Fearless to just get that poke check in that passing lane. Larkin for Wheeler. Forced to the corner. Killing off some time. Blake Wheeler was hooked, I believe, and that is going to be a penalty, as we will now have a power play chance to close out this game for Josh Fearless. Austin Matthews will take the draw with 26 seconds left, and the puck goes to Jack Eichel. In the corner, Eichel trying to make this a +3 game. Matthews circling. Final 14 seconds as the puck ricochets to Seth Jones. Little bit of room in the slot. Lost it as it comes back towards neutral ice. And now, with 5 seconds left, an offside whistle against Josh Fearless. If this score holds, it will be 13-12 in favor of Team Canada entering the fourth and final game. Maybe one last chance to try and close that gap a bit by Seb, but he does not have time to make the rush. And the game is over. A 6-4 victory, and now a 13-12 edge in the aggregate, thanks to Josh Fearless, as Team Canada holds the edge with 3 out of 4 done on Team Sweden.
Wow, the lead shifts back the other way, and it's exactly what Team Canada needed to do in order to get themselves ahead in the series. They finally do it with a really great victory. Hats off to both competitors there as they retire for this particular series, at least for now. As we jump back into here in the studio, that was a great performance for sure.
Absolutely incredible. And one thing I want to point out is we do see that aggregate score 13-12. In regulation time, with 3 games in the books, not counting overtime, each player is even with their opposition. On the PlayStation side, there was no overtime, but we had a 3-5 final score in the first game, a 6-4 going the other way in this game, 9-9. In game number 2, the only Xbox game we've seen so far, the game was tied at 3 before we went to overtime. That series will decide what happens, who is moving on to face Team Finland in the championship. Team Canada has to win in order to advance. Team Sweden, with a 1-goal win in Game 4, would force the most unbelievable golden goal situation that we could ever possibly imagine after Game 4. And if Team Sweden wants to win this one and punch their ticket without needing that, they will have to win by at least 2 in game number 4.
This is going to be a crazy game. I hope everyone has their beverages, their libations, their food. If you went
2 bottles of water.
2 bottles of water for sure. I got my tea at the ready. I hope you're in for a treat because we're about to see one. We will be right back with game number 4 here in the 2020 IIHF Esports Fan Championship semifinals between Canada and Sweden. Don't go anywhere.
take it to win. Take it to win. Take it to win. Take it to win. Take it to win.
Welcome back. It is currently a 1-goal difference in this series. Team Canada up on Team Sweden, and the only difference is an overtime winner in game number 2. The PlayStation side, their games 1 and game 3 ended up knotted up 9-9 over the course of 2 games. Game number 2 ended 4-3 in favor of Team Canada in overtime. And now, if Canada can win here in game 4, they're moving on to face Finland for the championship. If Sweden can win, we might either have a golden goal, or if it's a multi-goal victory for Ekin, we'd be looking at a Sweden victory and a ticket punched to the championship round.
For one team, they're going to be completely enthralled with the result of a hard-fought battle. For the other is going to be a deflating defeat, and I don't know who is going to take that one. We talked a little bit on Wednesday about setting up this potential Finland versus Sweden matchup. We also talked about what that might look like if it was Finland versus Canada. I think Finland is not going to want to play either of these teams. Of course, Eki is waiting in the finals for this one, along with his counterpart, Ratadi. But nevertheless, we have the stage set. 3 more periods of hockey at least. Someone has to come out as a winner, right? That's it.
Someone does. But again, if we have overtime like we did in game 2, if we have a 1-goal differential in this individual game, and Sweden, if Ekin is able to pick up that victory, then the series isn't over. So you can't go home just yet. Well, I guess you're probably at home when you're playing and also with quarantine stuff. But if you're on the PlayStation 4 side, if you're Seb, if you're Josh, you can't put your controller down just yet. You've got to be keeping an eye on this game, and you probably need to be keeping yourself warmed up, because if Ekin is able to win by exactly 1 goal, which was the goal differential in game 2 the other way, we've got a golden goal situation. This is a situation, though, that if you're Nuke, all you've got to do is win. All you have to do is win, 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 no matter what, and you're moving on.
Especially if they have money on their mind, Drew. But nevertheless, I'm paying attention to the chat, and a lot of them are really excited for that golden goal. So I think they want that. Will they give it to them? I don't know. I kind of want it, but I also know these teams don't want to do that. They just want to go and get their victory. So I think they might want to do that instead.
So just to describe a little bit how it would work, because you know what? Let's hype it up, because it's possible.
Let's do it.
Maybe the first series that we've covered where we're this late in the game, this late in that series, and this is possible. So what happens in a golden goal situation? If these teams are tied at the end of game number 4 in the aggregate score, which means Ekin would have to win in regulation or in overtime by exactly 1 goal. What happens is each team on the Xbox side and on the PlayStation side would again go head-to-head. The first goal scored in one of the games based off of time in the game would be the game winner. So you could theoretically have a situation where one game goes really quick and they score a goal 18 minutes into the first period, but the other game on the Xbox side, let's say, still has only played 10 minutes of the first period. Well, then those last 8 minutes, they would still have to play to get to the same point where the golden goal was scored. So it's a situation where not only does it have to be the first goal scored, but it's the first goal scored based on the game clock. So there is still an equal amount of time in the other side, on the PlayStation side or the Xbox side, to also try and beat that clock. If you're a wrestling fan, if you've watched WWE at any point in the last 20 years and you've seen the Beat the Clock Challenge tournament, where you'll have someone wrestle someone and win in, let's say, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. The next guy comes out and knows he's got 3 minutes and 20 seconds to win his match, or he loses. And it's kind of similar in this situation where the moment a goal is scored, you know the cutoff time on the other side. It's possible it's already passed and the series is over. It's possible that you have 30 seconds or 5 minutes left to try and score that goal, to try and beat the clock to get that golden goal.
That's exactly right. So we have the stage set. We may have a little difficulty calling 2 games at the same time. We'll see what happens when we cross that bridge, but nevertheless, we are here right now, and I think we just need to get through the first 3 periods, and then we'll kind of see how that goes as we work our way through, because technically, on the technical side of things, that's going to be a fun challenge in and of itself, and I think if there was an MVP for that, if it gets to that point, I think I would have to bring home a trophy for myself. But
probably
is to share it with the team. You know, we're all part of this together. But no, right now the teams are setting up their lineups. We are almost in a position to get this puck dropped, and I cannot wait to see what we're about to see on the ice.
I kind of want to be tested and try to do play-by-play for 2 games simultaneously. That I kind of want that experience to be able to say I've done that once, which makes no sense outside of the context of the way that this would have to go. Because you're not going to be standing between 2 hockey rinks, IRL, and calling a game on one and keeping an eye on the other and just jumping back and forth. We also could do it where if we can split our audio to left channel and right channel in stereo.
Oh, that'll go well.
Call one, yeah, just people wearing their full headphones, like hearing me in one ear and hearing you in the other. Yeah, I'm sure that what could possibly go wrong with that? I'm sure that would be very well received.
That's how people go crazy, Drew. We're not going to have that happen. We get the 2 voices. That would mess me up. I have a hard enough time when I'm commentating a game and I have a producer in my ear. I'm sure you have it the same way. You have to time that with what's going on, with what's happening on the ice, with what your co-host is saying. But no, we don't need to do it where there's 2 different people. And no, I can't have that happen, Drew.
I would definitely be able to identify with Randy Orton's theme music if that were the case, though, because I would just be hearing voices in my head. They talk to me, and hopefully they'd understand, but they
I
talk to me.
always understand, Drew.
That's why we work so well together.
That's
So,
right.
going into this final game, yet again, Nuke picked up a 4-3 victory. It took overtime, but he had that win in game number 2. The first goal of the game, though, was scored by Ekin, and this is a situation where you've got to be +1 before you can do anything else. At least if you're in this game, if you're Ekin, you have to be +1 or even in every period you play. That is how you either force that golden goal situation where we test the abilities of your computer, or Sweden moves on after this game is done. But the amount of pressure on both of these players has to be really high because Nuke still has to win. It's only a 1-goal edge. There's no scenario where Nuke loses this game, regulation or overtime, and still advances, at least not immediately.
That's right.
You have to win.
Yeah, this is a lot of pressure. I don't know who has more pressure. I think the pressure is on Nuke because you are up by 1, and it's your game to lose. It's everything you do is going to kind of predicate what actually happens and what the outcome is. The decisiveness of moving forward is inside your hands, controlling your controller right this second. Now, if you lose the game, if it go, that's going to be a different situation where you do no longer control your own destiny. You have to rely on teammates and opposition. So it's going to be interesting to see who breaks first here, because Ekin is going to come out hungry, and I think he has to, because you have to get up and at least make a statement early and say, okay, I'm ready to play again, coach.
I am cheering for a golden goal situation because I want that to happen in this tournament. And the way these teams have played, I also want more hockey between these competitors, because all 3 of these games that we've seen so far have been fantastic and down to the wire contests. And you know what? If we can get a 4.5 game kind of situation where that half is half from each matchup, so it's technically 5. I mean, I might give myself a headache, but it's fine. I've got some aspirin I could take afterwards, and I'll have a snack or something, and I'll be good. Like I am. I want to see the craziest possible thing happen. We've seen crazy goals scored. We've seen amazing passes, amazing, beautiful saves, sprawling out while manually controlling the goaltender. We've seen those beautiful little pass tap in redirect goals. In this series, in addition to in all the games that we've covered. The one thing we haven't seen is a golden goal situation. So I'm cheering to see that, because I would love to see that happen in this tournament, because it's such a unique tie-breaking procedure. I'm really looking forward to this, because the way these teams have played in both the PlayStation side and the Xbox side, this has been the best matchup of the tournament so far.
100%. And I'm just getting word not to set the stage any more grand than it already is. I'm being told literally right now that because Nuke can't save his custom lines, as we saw in game number 1 between these 2 particular players, game 2 in the series, both teams are going to be playing with default lines. So that's going to change the entire structure of what they've been practicing with, what they've been kind of getting used to as far as timing and speed and player movement. All of that is now out the window as these 2 teams are playing with the default teams going into this game, because the teams will not save. So just to throw another wrench, another little wrinkle into the entire saga that is Team Canada versus Team Sweden, now we have a little bit of a different approach to how both teams are going to be playing this game.
That's going to be really interesting to see. And I kind of like that little bit of fairness that's brought in, because it's not anything that is really under the control of Nuke. It's just something that is happening for some reason. Yeah, we are going to see what happens here. This is game number 4. It is the deciding game number 4. If your popcorn wasn't ready an hour ago,
you're late.
Or if you finish it off, you need it again, because game number 4 starts with a 1-goal differential in the aggregate. That lead favors Nuke and Team Canada. Again, dressed in white, playing as Team USA, and then dressed in red, dressed as Team Canada, is Sweden and Ekin, as he will have offensive zone possession first here as we open up this 4th and final game of the series. Bergeron behind the net, circling with it. Now in the hash marks, trying to center himself, makes that pass, and then getting to the slot was Marchand, but he lost it as Eichel makes the play up for Patrick Kane. Kane looking for that centering feed, holds up, gets some space. Patrick Kane In the slot, rips that wrist shot, and it's blocked by Sidney Crosby. Spinning pass back towards center ice and cleared out of the zone, and now on a rush is Ekin. That centering feed, trying to get that redirect tip in, but a nice stop made by Connor Hellebuck, the goaltender that is the standard starter for Team USA in this game, so the one that Nuke will be playing with.
A quick start to the game so far. I don't know if there's going to be any feeling out process here. I think they're going to go right for the jugular as effectively as they can. So you better buckle in. We're going to get some action here.
4 minutes gone by in period number 1 as Ekin has possession in the offensive end. McDavid with it, playing a little bit of keep away. Good job using that protect option, playing it back up high. One-time shot, and that one never got its way through as it was blocked by Austin Matthews and maybe even Connor McDavid as well. Trying to re-enter the zone yet again is Ekin. Pushes it ahead, chases it down in the corner. Losing it, now scooping it up, spinning with it, playing it back up top to the point. Brent Burns, again, protecting the puck from the attack of Jake Gensel. Burns D to D as they have switched sides. Back for Brent Burns, but it's a little off the mark and picked up and moved out. Here's an opportunity for Nuke in the offensive end. Played back, that long shot from Blake Wheeler whistles high and wide in the glass. Holding the zone, still an opportunity for Nuke. Forced to the corner by Drew Doughty. Now behind the net, circling with it, trying to find a lane, maybe on the backhand. Can't get a shot off, loses possession. Good takeaway there, but a turnover yet again. And then Wheeler colliding with an opposing player as that puck ends up going to Ekin, and he starts it the other way. Nice steal in the offensive end. Chance, one-time feed, great shot block there by Nuke as he clears the zone and got right into that passing lane, got down low, and just found a way to block that opportunity. As now a steal, Jake Gensel, maybe thinking backhander, but forced wide. Feed across the ice for Larkin, and his shot whistles wide. Wheeler breaks free for some pressure, but then has the puck poked away. Ekin, out of the zone, pass on ahead. In the offensive end, nice little maneuver to get around the attacking defenseman. Centering feed, and that shot is denied by Hellebuck. Forced to the sideboards, and Blake Wheeler scoops it up and skates it out. In the offensive end, but thought he may have been going offside, so he came back and plays it up ahead for JT Miller. Miller in the corner. Moving with it, just playing a little keep away from Pietrangelo. Up top, D to D, back down low, intended for Miller, read and intercepted, as we have fewer than 6 minutes to go in this first period where we remain scoreless, but on the one-time feed, Hellebuck makes a huge glove save. Bank pass out of the zone, and now Patrick Kane backing in down low, pulls up, stops with a little bit of room, spins around. Kane, cross ice for Miller, his shot goes about 1.5 feet wide. 4 minutes to go in the first period. Nice read and steal by Ryan Suter, getting it into the offensive end, but it's taken back and moved the other way. A little bit of trade of possession now. Line change going for Nuke. The defenseman just holding it, allowing him to get some fresh bodies on the ice, and now we'll change up the defenseman as well. Patrick Kane, down low, behind the net. Spinning around, back behind the net. Pressed, spins back yet again. Good poke check there by the netminder, getting that stick out there. I think that was just an automatic play, but a good one all the same. Under 90 seconds to play in this scoreless first period as Jack Eichel picks up the puck in his own end and plays it all the way back. Chased down, but unable to exit the zone is Sidney Crosby with that pressure and the steal. Crosby, 25 seconds to go. Feet up top, trying to find some spaces. We're in the real-time final 10 seconds. Pressure along the boards. Back towards center, moving down low, 4 seconds and 3. Can they get a shot on goal? They will not, and the first period ends with this game scoreless as it was in game number 2.
20 minutes down in game time, 2 shots only for Team Sweden, controlling and dressed as Team Canada. No shots registered on the board for Nuke, Drew.
Had a couple of opportunities, but just could not get one to technically go on goal.
About 3 or 4 went wide, right?
Yeah, missing it. Not by too small of a margin, but did get shots towards the net. That would have been dangerous. Speaking of dangerous, that little cross-ice feed turned aside by Hellebuck. Playing it out of the zone is Nuke, and now in the offensive end. Johnny Gaudreau in the corner. Forced back towards the boards, but keeps it away from Patrice Bergeron. Centering feed. Puck intercepted, taken away by Sidney Crosby and cleared of the zone. 2.5 gone by in this period. Quick shot taken. Dangerous rebound was there. Trying to drop the knee was Brad Marchand. but the puck instead will be sent all the way down the ice for an icing with exactly 17 minutes to go in this second period of play.
17 minutes to go in the period. That's 37 in-game minutes. Is that enough time? I'm sure it is, but which team is going to score first here?
Someone has to score a goal, be it regulation or overtime. And as we mentioned, if Canada can win this game by any margin, they advance. If Sweden can win this game by a margin of at least 2, they will advance. If Sweden were to win this game by just 1, the golden goal will be played. Chance for Patrick Kane down low. Try to just drop it in and force it past Price, but it ends up again going wide. Another scoring opportunity where the puck just could not go on goal. Quick rush the other way. McDavid feed, and we're tied up. It's a 1-0 game on the cross-ice feed as John Tavares breaks the tie score. It's at 0-0. It's now 1-0 in the game and 13-13 in the aggregate, and I am just too excited to talk.
It's okay that you're excited. I'm excited too, Drew. And you know what? It's okay to be excited because now we're tied up. It's like a fresh start across the board. Other than that looming overtime that may push the direction one way or the other, we are now even keel on the series, 13-13. Could it be lucky number 13 for Ekin? We'll have to see.
A rush yet again, but a nice job there by Austin Matthews making the steal, and he hands it to Phil Kessel. Kessel entering the offensive end. Fakes to go towards the corner, then plays it towards center ice. Centering feed, that shot kicked aside. Nice little toe save made by the netminder for Team Canada, which is Team Sweden in this case for Ekin, as he cleared it out. Played on ahead, another opportunity for Ekin, but a good job getting back and making sure that they did not get that cross-ice one-time pass across. McKinnon, forced behind the net, loses possession, trying to get it back. He pokes it on ahead, and it will now be a turnover and a rush the other way. Can this game be tied by Nuke? Pulls up one-timer across the ice, and that wrist shot is denied. Trying to tie it yet again. A feed down low on the rebound. Chance, a cross-ice feed for Gensel, and his shot could not go.
Great defense right there by Ekin to keep the game alive here and keep their team tied in the aggregate.
Chance the other way. Ekin trying to extend the lead and take a lead in the aggregate scoring. Down low, cross-ice. They do it. It's a 2-0 game and now a 14-13 aggregate as Nathan McKinnon picks up the marker.
And not only is that a crucial goal to put them ahead and up by 2 right now, more importantly, that comes off the heels of a great defensive effort on the other side of the ice. If we went back there, it was 3 or 4 times that they put their defender in the way of the shot, in the goal to prevent that goal, and now they're up by 2, and I believe that was a timeout taken by Nuke.
That it was, trying to slow things down because being down by 2 is one too many if he wants to play beyond the 60-minute mark. That shot off of the blocker of Hellebuck and towards the corner. Ekin is just pressing big time right now. Chance the other way for Nuke, trying to set something up. Plays it back to the defenseman, cross ice. Moving down low with it, circling back towards center ice. The feed, thinks against taking that shot and takes that one instead, and it was a great decision because now it's a 2-1 deficit in the game and the aggregate remains tied yet again.
Down by 2, you have to get one back as quick as possible. Well, Nuke was able to do that, and now, even though it is 2-1 Team Sweden in the game, it's tied up in the series.
And that shot nearly going, but it was blocked on its way to Hellebuck and the goal, as trying to respond immediately was Ekin. We've had 2 very different periods thus far. The first period remained scoreless. We only saw 2 shots on goal in the frame, both belonging to Ekin. It's now 3 total goals here in the second, as trying to make it a 2-2 game was Nuke, but that centering feed was denied. Nice steal by Gensel, one-time feed towards the slot, and that shot was blocked as well. Gensel again with possession, trying to tie the game and give his team the lead in the aggregate yet again, but the puck comes back towards neutral ice, and Ekin plays it in the offensive end. Little bit of space for the defenseman to step up. Behind the net, circling with it. Good job there, just poking it away by the defenseman. And now D-to-D, long shot taken, ricochets off a body and wide. As we're now with 1:10 remaining here in the second period, a steal for Jake Gensel. Trying for a rush, but a good job on the back check, just forcing that puck towards the boards. Larkin Back, gets it back, and scores! The game is tied with under 23 seconds to go as Dylan Larkin has once again given the aggregate lead to Nuke and Team Canada, and the game is knotted up at 2.
And all that work that Ekin did in this period to establish a lead gone with under a minute to go in the period. We are tied back up in the game, and Canada's up by 1.
One last rush, down low, and the lead again belongs to Sweden.
Forget everything I just said. It doesn't matter. Ekin said he's not going to go down without a fight in this period. He does so, and that's exactly what you want if you are Team Sweden right now.
What a quick play, and we've seen that pass to the low slot from up top work so well for Team Sweden in this series. And now with 4.4 to go in the second period, it looks like we will be heading into the locker room with a team holding the lead. Chance to extend it. That shot is blocker to the corner by Hellebuck at the horn. It is a 3-2 game. All 5 goals coming in the second period, and the aggregate sits at 15-15. Does Nuke have a response in him for the third period? Could we see overtime in this game? Could we see the lead extended and the aggregate score split? Or are we destined for a golden goal between Sweden and Canada?
We will know in about 6 minutes, Drew.
Everybody make sure you're breathing. Again, popcorn, drink, something, water. Make sure that your ceiling isn't too low if you're jumping up and punching in the air and celebrating and cheering. You don't want to hurt your wrist on the ceiling.
Or ceiling fan, sir. If your ceiling fan is lower than your ceiling, that's also bad.
Be mindful of pets that might be around you so that if you jump out of your chair, you don't step on a tail or anything. Children in the area, bring them here. They should be watching this. This is as unbelievably competitive of a series as we've seen. Eichel trying to feed it for Kane, but it's read and intercepted as Ekin clears the zone. 1 minute down here in the third. That centering feed was read as Crosby was on the doorstep, but a good job that time by Nuke to take it away. Kane on the rush the other way. Had Eichel, couldn't get the pass across, and instead it's taken and cleared of the zone by Team Sweden. Bergeron resetting in his own end. Long pass ahead. Nice little spin, but forgot to take the puck with him. And 3 minutes are gone by in the third. Eichel crossed the red line, feed, and again, Kane in the offensive end. Drops it back, wrist shot was deflected in front, and the game is tied yet again. It is 3-3, and the aggregate lead, thanks to Johnny Gaudreau, belongs to Nuke.
And that's the more important thing there, Drew, is right now, the game decision. Yeah, it does matter if you can take it to overtime and try to push one to go to golden goal, but I don't think Team Sweden wants to do that, and definitely Nuke doesn't want to do that, and he's up now by 1 for his team.
16:35 to go in this third period as a steal by Austin Matthews as he skates it on ahead, entering the offensive end. Nuke needs a win, regulation or overtime, in order to guarantee Canada's spot in the championship round. Ekin needs a win to guarantee that he will play beyond this game. Try to make that quick pass from hash mark to hash mark, but it was read and intercepted and moved out. Jake Gensel, offensive end. Good poke check by Brent Burns, forcing the puck free, and it's scooped up by Ekin. Crossing the red line now and the opposing blue line, but it would be offside. They've got to touch back up as possession belongs to Nuke. Between the legs pass was denied, but came right back to the player that attempted it. They will consider a defensive pairing line change, but an offside instead at 12:38 left here in the third. And this is, I'm on the edge of my chair here. I'm just basically like rocking back and forth as I watch this game because holy cow, this is unbelievable. 3-3. Again, any win for Team Canada, dressed as Team USA, wins the series. Ekin needs a win by multiple goals to not go to a golden goal situation. Breakout pass was read and intercepted. A good job there because Ekin, while he needs to score a goal, he really cannot afford to give one up. Larkin moving the other way. Had it poked away towards the boards by Shea Weber. Played on ahead. 1-on-2 rush, and that good poke check there by Nuke forces the puck back towards neutral ice, where it's brought back in yet again by Ekin. Chance for Taylor Hall to set something up in the corner. Hall, 9 minutes to play, tried to center it, but it hit the side of the net. Puck came towards the front of the net, but was instead played back behind and now out to JT Miller, but back into the offensive end at least briefly before taking an offside is Ekin. 8:20 to go. We're tied in this game. Someone has to win it in regulation or in overtime. And we're running out of time to see if this might be a multi-goal victory for either team.
That's exactly right. I think one more goal, but I've been surprised before, and we have an answer from Ekin, Drew. I did not mean to take your call on that, but we are now tied back up in the series. Ekin taking a one-goal lead here in this game 4.
Absolutely unbelievable is Drew Doughty, the defenseman, charging to the low slot area. Again, it's that feed to the low slot from up top and a quick redirect, and it works yet again with 7:49 to go.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Drew. He's done that about 4 or 5 times now in this series.
I keep wanting to recap just what we seem destined to be headed towards. As Jack Eichel moves the other way. Tons of time, but again, Ekin would really prefer a multi-goal victory to make sure that this is the last game of the series and that Sweden will move on to face fellow Nordic country Finland. That cross-ice feed, the spinning backhander, a little too delayed as Hellebuyck managed to make the stop with 5:42 to go. Finland already waiting for the winner of this series in the finals. One of these teams will win, but again, for Sweden, it's not enough to punch their ticket to just win the game. They have to win by more than one, as they're going to call a timeout here as they have an offensive zone faceoff to take. And it will be on the right-handedness to try to win it back to the point, maybe do a set play here. Tie-up off the draw, though. Good strategy by Nuke, just going for that tie-up option, making sure that they could not get the quick couple passes and shot, as we're now down to 5 minutes to play in regulation time. Nuke trying to get something going. Down low, fed down low. Trying to give and go. That shot goes just wide. How many of those have we seen that have ended up just about a foot wide of the net? Pushed towards the front of the crease, but cleared out of the zone. Entering the offensive zone is Ekin. Cross-ice feed, and he rips one wide. Again, that feed cross ice, getting it a little bit lower. Worked. It had Hellebuyck out of position, but they could not hit the net. 2 minutes left in this game. The aggregate score is 16-16. The game score is 4-3. Can Sweden take the lead? Crosby tried to feed it to the slot. Bergeron tried to get it back to him, and it's taken out of the zone. Final 60 seconds. It's in real time. Phil Kessel, offensive end, trying to tie this game up and maybe force overtime in this contest. Again, if Nuke is able to win this game in regulation or overtime, Canada is moving on. Sweden trying to make sure it's a multi-goal deficit. Spinning and scoring is Connor McDavid. And with 42 seconds left, Sweden has taken a 1-goal edge in the aggregate.
Ekin putting on a show and moving around the back of the net, Drew, to put one home for his team. Could this be the goal that seals the deal for Sweden?
Connor McDavid has his team up by 2 in the game and by 1 in the aggregate. An unassisted goal, and now Nuke is in must-score situation. He has to get at least 1 goal in the next 35 seconds. Makes the steal. Feed up for Patrick Kane. Both teams have used their timeout. Goudreau, the feed for Eichel, pushed in front and on goal, but covered up for the whistle by Carey Price.
And he tried to just tuck that in with the one-handed put away. Could not do it. Carey Price was wiser there and made the save.
Eichel taking the offensive zone draw, but the tie-up will go to Ekin instead. Able to clear the zone. Huge pressure because Nuke has to get it back. He's got to score. 18 seconds left. The zone has been cleared. Skating in. 2-on-1 chance for Ekin. Can he put it away? He holds on and will just kill off a little bit of time. Will that come back to bite him? 7 seconds left. Trying to tie things up and force the golden goal, but the puck goes to the corner. This one is over. It's going to be Sweden taking on Finland for the championship in the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Finals. What an unbelievable game and series as Sweden locks up its spot in the championship round.
You couldn't ask for almost anything more other than a golden goal. As we look at the shots on goal there, many missed, unfortunately, by Nuke, and that would do it for his team. Team Canada, one of the favorites to go to the finals and potentially win it, fall to Team Sweden 17-16. 16.
I am just overwhelmed with the skill of hockey we just saw and the way that that game went. That is clearly, easily among the most exciting hockey, esports or otherwise, series and games that I have witnessed. It reminds me of, was it the Blackhawks and the Bruins, where it looked like we were going to game 7 and then suddenly 2 goals in the final minute, and it was not just not going to end in regulation, it was going the other way, and the Stanley Cup was presented that night. And Sweden, Ekin, managed to pull this off, scoring back-to-back goals to close out the game. He had a 3-2 lead. He lost that. It was tied up on a goal by Johnny Gaudreau and Nuke, and we looked like it might be an overtime game. Then Drew Doughty picks up the marker for Ekin and forces the game to be going. We're going, the golden goal is upon us. We are about a minute and a half away, and then with less than a minute to go in regulation time, re-extending the lead to 2 on a goal by Connor McDavid, Ekin forcing his way, willing Sweden into the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship Finals.
Wow. The words have escaped me in a moment like this, Drew. You told it really well. We said going into this was going to be a tight series. I don't think anybody would have predicted that it would have been as tight as it was here today and as what was shown on the ice. Missed chances on both sides, download chances going in on both sides, off the iron 5, 6, 7 times in a row, rebound chances saved, big diving poke checks, sprawling saves. You couldn't have asked for anything better coming into this series. You got what you wanted if you were a fan, other than the fact that if you were a Team Canada supporter, unfortunately, their series and tournament life ends here today. However, they left it all on the ice, and that is what playoff hockey is all about.
Absolutely incredible. That may have been a better cardio workout for me than the last time I ran a 5K. I don't even know what to say. That was absolutely unreal. And we do have a little bit more for you coming up. It will be Sweden and it will be Finland. They will be going head-to-head on Sunday. The Eastern time zone in North America, it'll be 3 p.m. is that time. I don't know offhand how to adjust that to European different time zones there. But that is Sunday. It's going to be a huge matchup between Sweden and Finland to win it. But we're not done just yet, because coming up, we're going to interview one player on either side. Josh Fearless for Team Canada, and then the man who punched Sweden's ticket to the finals himself, Ekin. We're going to talk to him as well, so make sure you keep it here for our continuing coverage of the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship.
Take it to it.
And welcome back to our continued coverage here in the semifinals as we wrap up today's coverage in the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship. I am joined by the one himself, Mr. Josh Fearless. And Josh, first and foremost, I want to make sure I say congratulations on a hard-fought fight to get to this point, and unfortunately a heartbreaker here and a 1-goal difference to end the series here for you. Your thoughts on what just happened on the ice?
Yeah, first off, thanks. It sucks losing, but it happens. What happened on the ice? You know what? I think Nuke played exceptional well. To be honest, I think I had to do a little bit more on my part. I had the questionably worst player out of well, not worst, but the least, well, I guess the worst of the two, Ekin and Seb. So I feel like I costed losing the first game by 2 goals. Nuke did a good job beating him in game one, and I was able to get 2 goals for us to put him in a good spot. But listen, when two good players go at that, it comes down to puck bounces. 20 seconds left or 40 seconds left, the puck went down low. Nuke had a little delayed switch because of connection that happens, and he was able to pot it home. Heartbreaker, but hey, what are you gonna do? It is what it is.
Yeah, with the peer-to-peer connection, obviously a little bit slower to connect to each other. Is that doesn't obviously play to anybody's benefit? But how hard is it getting used to playing on that when you're so used to playing on, like, let's say, local servers in your other matches?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It doesn't play beneficial to anyone because they play on good connection normally, and we play on good connection normally. Getting used to it is really tough. I tried playing a little bit of Europeans throughout the week just to get used to it. So I was a little bit more prepared, I would say, but it's definitely tough. The first game you could see it's very tough to uh, judge your player and get on that connection. So it's the first game's more of feeling out, and the second game's where you really take it home. So that's what it comes down to, basically.
Your thoughts on the final matchup here? We have Sweden versus Finland. Obviously, great talented players here. What are you looking forward to most in seeing those two take it out on the ice for the finals?
Yeah, I just want it to be a close game. The feeling I had, and probably everyone else watching at home, those close games. I know we lost, so it sucks, heartbreaker. But there's so much intensity. Like, people are so nervous. It's fun to watch. So the only thing I want to see from that finals is a close match. I don't care what happens. Maybe see a golden goal. That'd be amazing to set off the whole tournament. But I just want it to be really close. I don't want to blow it. That would not be fun.
For sure. Well, any last words? Do you want to share anything with your country that you represented through this entire tournament?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, big thanks to Nuke, man. Nuke was awesome. He helped out a lot, so I'm very happy that he was my teammate throughout this whole thing. And yeah, I just want to thank IIHF and Team Canada themselves. You guys put on something really awesome. So being able to support and help us out really helps the community grow. And yeah, just thank you very much.
Josh Fearless, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. And unfortunately, it ends here for you. But best of luck in everything else you're doing forward. You obviously are a super talented player, and you're gonna be great moving forward. Unfortunately, fall short here.
Thanks, man. You have a good one, eh?
We'll be right back. And we're back here in the studio. Nick DeMeo joined by Drew Goldfarb, and we're bringing you the final bit of coverage here in the 2020 IIHF Esports Fan Championship. We are joined, Drew, and I'm really happy about this. We're joined by the champion of the matchup here today, one half of Team Sweden. We're joined by Ekin. Ekin, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Now, let's start off real quick, Ekin, if you don't mind. How are you feeling right now after that amazing victory? You're able to pull it out, get ahead, and walk home with the victory and go to the finals. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. Like we knew from the start that we're going up against two of the world's best players, so we had to play on our A game to have a chance, and to be able to beat them is a great feeling.
When you're going into game number 4 and you realize that the aggregate is just 1 goal different, meaning that if you won the game, you knew that at the very least your day wasn't going to be over. What did that mean for you? Because to see it be 13-12, it was the other way. Suddenly you were trailing, but what was your mindset going into a game 4 when it was a 1 goal difference?
Yeah, like I said, my focus was just to win the game, and I felt from the start that I was playing really well and was creating chances when I got into the zone. So yeah, I just never gave up, and the goals came as well.
I'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention this. A lot of people in the chat are very upset that you did not allow us the golden goal situation that we wanted. Did you have anything you wanted to say to them?
No, I can understand that. We haven't seen that so far, but maybe we'll see it in the final instead.
Take me through just the way that game ended before we move on, because obviously you guys are going to be playing Finland for the championship. But take me through the way that this game ended, because you guys were tied at 3 with just a couple of minutes left, and you managed to take the lead and then increase that lead where you were up in the aggregate. What was going through your head? What adjustments did you make, or what did you do, or was it just the same that you'd been doing in those final couple minutes to take the lead and then knock home the win in the aggregate?
I just tried to play the same. I knew it was at least gonna go to an OT, but it would be great to just score one more and get the win straight away. So I just kept on attacking, and when I got that space with McDavid, I took it, and it was a goal.
It was a goal indeed, and a decisive goal to punch your ticket. Last question here for you, Ekin. Any words you want to share to the IIHF, or to, more importantly, your country here as you head over into the finals?
Yeah, it's been great, the whole experience with this tournament, and to see the Swedish fans in the chat gives you energy as well. So it's awesome to see them come to the chat every game we play, and I hope they will be there for the finals as well.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations yet again. An unbelievable series played by you and your teammate Seb as well. And best of luck to you in the finals.
Thank you.
As Drew, we take a look at the bracket we have in front of us here. Quite a bit of a journey we've had so far to get us to this point, right?
Oh, absolutely. Unbelievable way that this tournament has gone. We've seen some incredible matchups, and I love that we've been saving the best for last at this point when it comes to the semifinal, the final game before we know who the last 2 teams are going to be. And we see, I think, easily the best matchup of the tournament. There had been a 16-15 game back in the first round, Slovakia and Latvia, and that one was entertaining. We've seen entertaining matchups. Sweden, Czech Republic was a really entertaining matchup as well. But to have this one come down to a single goal scored with under a minute left in the final game, I mean, aside from really wanting to see the golden goal, you cannot ask for more than that in a tournament, in a matchup like this. The talent was incredible, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Sweden and Finland do when they go head-to-head coming up in just a couple of days.
Yeah, it's obviously I had to give a little bit of a ribbing to to Ekin there because I think the fans wanted to see it, but that's okay because I don't think he was too concerned about that, Drew, as he was more focused on just walking out with the victory. And I can't blame him for wanting to do that. Not at all.
No, you gotta, if you're in a position where you're competing to win, you've got to want to keep the game in your own hands. And that's what he did. He took the lead, which in regulation, which he knew that that meant that he at least had more hockey left to be played if that held on. But he didn't want to worry about, even someone that wasn't in his game scoring a fluke goal a minute in and suddenly costing him his postseason. He took it into his own hands. And with 45 seconds left to go in regulation time, he said, "This ends now." And Connor McDavid just tucked it in, and that was the end of it. And yes, I would have loved to have seen a golden goal situation, but I don't know if the golden goal would have been as exciting as the final 2 minutes of that game ended up being, because we saw a 3-3 game that was destined for overtime where the lead was taken in regulation by the team down 1 in the aggregate, tying the aggregate. And then with under a minute to go, you're seeing a golden goal. That was a golden goal. It just wasn't under the guise of playing 2 games simultaneously.
That's exactly right. And I think the scenario, the change in the scenario was really what was interesting. It was, Team Canada up ahead. They're going to secure their ticket. It's over. It's done. Bam, we respond. Now it's a tied aggregate series. Then the goal. And then just that swing of what was going to happen all within 3 or 4 minutes of actual time was super impressive. And that's what's really interesting about playing esports is the time in the game is actually condensed, but your real time is the same. Time is relative, but it is the same 60 seconds, no matter which way you slice it. And It was just fun to watch that turn of events happen so fast in front of your eyes as you're watching it unfold on the screen. And I'm just glad that we have a winner. No question mark about it. Sweden, Finland in the finals.
And it's like I had pointed out, it was very reminiscent of that Bruins-Blackhawks Stanley Cup final, the way that one ended, where it looked like we were going to a Game 7. Then suddenly it looked like we were going to overtime. And then suddenly the series was over and the cup was presented, and that all happened in 2 minutes of NHL game time. And here, it happened in a span of 2 minutes of NHL 20 game time. It was absolutely incredible, where it looked like we were going to overtime. Then it looked like we were going to a golden goal. And then, bam, regulation time. Just the unbelievable finish and win for Ekin. And Seb did a great job as well in his game because, lost game 2, but won game 1. 2-goal margin in both situations. So if you can end up being even for the series and you're playing those odd games, games 1 and 3, and you know that you're handing it to your teammate and you're going, it's basically entirely up to you. You didn't hurt. You didn't necessarily give a cushion or a benefit, but you held it even and you allowed your teammate to go, if I win, we stay alive. And if I don't, it comes down to me. And that was, it deserves a bit of a tip of the hat as well. Because as you talked with Josh in that one, it's, Seb played him close and he picked up a huge win in game 3. And credit to Josh, by the way, in that one, scoring the last 2 goals of that game to make the series close.
Yep.
So just an unbelievable way that series went from start to finish. I don't think you could have written it better. I don't think it could have been any better than the way that those 4 games played out.
And we still have more hockey to play. Unfortunately, Drew, for you and I, this does it for our coverage here in the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship. However, we have a great finals matchup for you coming up in just a couple of days, don't we?
Absolutely. About 48 hours from now, Sunday afternoon in the U.S., 3 p.m. on the East Coast of the U.S., noon on the West Coast. You can convert for your local time wherever you may be in the world, but it is going to be Finland versus Sweden. It is a Nordic rivalry, and one of those teams will take home the championship here in the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship. And with the way that those teams have played throughout this tournament, throughout the bracket, I think it would be hard for anything to rival the matchup we just saw, but if any teams could do it, it's probably Finland and Sweden.
Probably. I expect this series to be really close. You have some great talent on both sides of the ice. What can Eki do to keep up with the likes of Ekin? It's going to be Ekin. I challenge Arda and Cam to work through that conundrum on air. And I put the faux pas slip at -3.5. That's my count. Just because I know I would do it probably about 12 times.
I would just shorten it and go with E versus in. It like just because it's what the first half is. The first half is the same for both guys. It's E versus in. I don't know what you do. I think you're going to be in a situation where it's going to be another tight contest where Ekin, not just a really good player offensively either. He's incredibly good defensively throughout this tournament. Hasn't given up more than 3 goals in regulation in any of the 6 games he's now played. Through 60 minutes of game time, he has never given up more than 3 goals in a game in this tournament. And that's a tough thing to overcome, in addition to having to slow down his offensive abilities, because we've seen it. He can score, even against top-notch opponents, even against someone like Nuke, who's going to be a tough guy to score against. And, he put up 8 goals. That's not bad. That's so, I mean, he won the matchup in the aggregate just between those 2 games, split the series and won the aggregate between the 2. So I don't know what you do other than you got to play your game, and you've got to try to see what weakness you might be able to find in both ends. It'll be interesting to see the way their styles match up compared to the way that the styles matched up here, where we kind of saw that North American game versus the European game. It'll be interesting to see when you have more European versus European, what adjustments either of them make.
And it's probably very likely that both teams have not only scouted each other, but know each other very well, being so close to each other and having probably played in a lot of tournaments and a lot of other games together. I'm sure that they have a few tricks up their sleeve after having scouted their players for as long as they have, especially through this tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, if there wasn't enough game video or head-to-head to go off of, before today, now there's tons. You've got this whole tournament. You've got 3 rounds of games, 6 total games for each of these players to scout of their opponents for the finals. They're going to know what the other is going to do, and it's going to be who can make the adjustment and who can counter the attack and defending styles of their opponents. That's going to come away with a championship win and pick up the 2020 crown.
That's right. So I look forward to that, Drew. This has been a heck of a time with you. But of course, we're going to turn it over in just under 48 hours to Cam and Arda as they close it out for this tournament.
And we're looking forward to seeing the way that goes. You can make sure you tune into that game on Twitch. Again, just less than 48 hours from now, Finland versus Sweden. One of those teams will take home the IIHF 2020 Esports Fan Championship title. It's been great to work with you again, Nick. He's been Nick DeMeo. I am Drew Goldfarb. Thank you guys so much for watching us throughout this postseason, throughout this tournament. Enjoy the finals. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time.